In a dark place, two girls appear running in fear from the soldiers chasing them, and one of the girls attacks the soldiers with her sword and takes them down, and we learn that her name is Catalina, and she tries to reassure her friend Lyria that they will be fine. Suddenly a voice comes from nowhere saying your attempt is useless, Catalina, and a purple crystal comes out, and the moment Lyria sees it she collapses and falls, and Catalina reacts angrily and says enough for her already. But suddenly we find that Lyria was able to destroy the crystal without even touching it, and a huge explosion happens in the place, which we discover is a warship flying in the sky, and Lyria falls from the warship because of the explosion. On the ground and on a simple island we find two boys named Gran and Araun, and who directs his words to Gran while he is chopping wood, and says I am always surprised by your ability to keep going in work. So Gran replies to him, this is good training for me. And we hear a voice calling Gran, and we find that it is a small red dragon and Gran's friend named Vyrn, and Araun's father comes in and thanks Gran for working in his place. So Gran asks him, are you better now? So Araun's father replies, I will be fine soon thanks to your help. And they notice the presence of a warship above the forest, so they wonder. Suddenly an explosion happens and they notice something glowing falling from the ship. So Gran wonders what is the light that might have fallen. So Vyrn replies it might be some wreckage, so Gran pulls his sword and tells Vyrn let's go see what this is, and they really find some of the wreckage and keep exploring, and they find a blue shining light so they head towards it, and they find a girl shining from the crystal in her chest that gave that light, so they go to her and try to wake her up. And when she wakes up and Gran asks her, are you okay? She replies with fear, I am fine but a bit tired. So Vyrn tells her, I never saw you before, where are you from? So Lyria cannot reply from confusion, and Gran says to her with amazement on his face, don't tell me you are the thing that fell from the ship. So Vyrn replies to him, no, impossible. So Gran tells Lyria, if you are in trouble we can help you. She replies, thanks to you. So Gran introduces himself and Vyrn, and asks her what happened to you. She starts to remember and tells him I was imprisoned in a dark place for a long time and Catalina told me she will take me out of it, and we were trying to escape from the soldiers. Suddenly she remembers Catalina and asks, did any of you see Catalina? So they reply, we don't know who Catalina is, so what does she look like? She replies, Lyria, she is a beautiful and strong girl. So Gran tells her while helping her up, then let's go look for her. Suddenly they hear the sound of soldiers coming at them, so Lyria screams, we must run quickly. So Gran asks her, are these the ones who were chasing you? She replies yes, and here Gran pulls his sword while reassuring her, don't worry, I will protect you. And one of the soldiers shouts at him and tells him it is better for you to hand her over, so Gran refuses. And the soldier attacks him, so Gran stabs him and he dies, and he attacks the second soldier and breaks his sword and takes him down, and Gran tells Lyria, let's go look for Catalina. But first we must let the villagers know what is happening. And they find one of the soldiers moved and pulled a weapon from his pocket, but he does not point it at them but points it to the sky. And we discover it is a signal flame for the soldiers, so they know their location, so they feel the danger and escape, and Gran asks Lyria, who are these? She tells him they are from the Empire, and fear appears on Gran and Vyrn's faces, and Vyrn looks at Gran angrily and tells him making an enemy with the Empire is a stupid thing. And the soldiers manage to surround them, but Catalina suddenly enters and kills the soldier who stopped her, and happiness appears on Lyria's face when she saw Catalina, who continues fighting the soldiers, and the moment she reached Lyria she told her we must run now, and looked at Gran and Vyrn and told them you too. And they start running in the forest, and when they get far from the soldiers Lyria asks Catalina, what will we do now? Catalina replies, we will leave this island, and I have an airship, we will use it, but it is a bit far. And she asks Lyria, will you be able to keep up longer on the island? She replies yes. So Catalina tells her, I am happy nothing happened to you after all this. And Catalina introduces herself to Gran and tells him, I am Lieutenant Catalina from the Empire of Ersta, and thank you very much for your help. So Gran asks her, why are the soldiers chasing you? Catalina apologizes to him, I cannot say the details, but we can say that Lyria is a special girl and they had imprisoned her for a long time, but I wanted to help her escape from there. So Gran offers to take her to her ship, so Vyrn yells at him and tells him, will you put yourself in danger again? So Catalina tells him, I will not allow anyone to get involved with us. So Gran tells her, I will not rest until I make sure myself that the matter ended and that you managed to escape, and also you will reach faster if we are with you. So Vyrn tells her, even if she refused, then it is done. Gran made his decision and will do what he thinks. So Catalina agrees that Gran and Vyrn take them, but they must listen to her words. On their way, they find the soldiers interrogating one of the island's residents about a girl with blue hair. So the man denies, I didn't see anyone like that. So the captain orders him to take him to his village, so the villagers will be forced to search for the girl with the soldiers. So the man refuses, so they pull his daughter from him and threaten to kill her. Suddenly Catalina enters and kills the soldier holding the girl, and she is surprised by Gran's strength when he kills the other soldiers, and Catalina apologizes to the man for what happened, and Gran tells her we must move away quickly, and they really start to continue their way to the ship, and Catalina notices the arrows coming towards them and skillfully shields Gran with her sword. And we find that the leader of those archers is a man named Captain Pommern, who tells her you are very skilled in fighting, but I will not forgive you for what you did. And Catalina had already noticed the arrangement of the soldiers around her, and Catalina tells Gran take Lyria and run. But Captain Pommern laughs and tells her you surely realized what this formation means, there is no time to escape. Suddenly a huge dragon with 7 heads appears and attacks Gran and knocks him flying, and slams him to the ground and attacks him with fire until it surrounds him from all sides and he cannot escape, and attacks him with its fangs and breaks the sword and causes him a big wound. And Gran falls among Vuaren, screaming and crying over him and his attempts to wake him up. And Catalina screams at Pommern, he is just a child, why kill him? So the captain replies mockingly, the matter will not end with killing him only. If Lyria used all her power, there will be more chaos than this, and you are still insisting on freeing her. So Lyria gets angry and tells him Catalina and Gran were trying to protect me and now I will protect them. Suddenly she gives her power to Gran, who is unconscious, and he starts to see Lyria's shadow talking to him in his consciousness and telling him, use my power, Gran, I am sure you will know how. And she stretches her hand to him and he holds it and Lyria's crystal shines with the blue light. And Gran wakes up and asks what happened, why do I feel different? And we find that Gran's wound disappeared. So Pommern gets angry and orders the dragon to kill Gran. And with all calm, Lyria and Gran raise their hands and recite the name Bahamut. So light shines from them to the sky, and from the middle of the light comes out a huge, terrifying dragon named Bahamut. The captain gets scared of the dragon and says, what is this? But he gathers his courage and says, whatever you are, I will not allow you to stand in my way, and orders his dragon to attack it. So the 7-headed dragon starts breathing fire on Bahamut, but there is no effect. And from behind the smoke, Bahamut starts gathering his power in his hand and attacks the captain's dragon. So the captain screams in despair, impossible this to happen, how did he know to kill it? And he says to himself, I guess it is time to retreat, and orders the soldiers we must withdraw and return to the Empire with a report about what happened. Then Catalina is astonished and asks herself, is this Lyria's power? And Gran asks Lyria, what is this? She replied to him, this is Bahamut, and he is the one who helped us, and she pointed at the crystal, so Bahamut begins to disappear, and while speaking Gran loses consciousness. And we go back to the past and find little Gran sitting in the forest reading a letter from his father, and its content is about the astral island and the huge dragons. And Vuaren comes to him and tells him, you are still reading your father's letter? Gran replies to him, I am very excited for the adventures in those places. One day I will be a skyfarer and go there. So Araunt's voice cuts him saying, you still want to go to Astral Island? Don't you get bored of this subject? It is just fantasy, nothing more. Gran objects and tells him no, it exists in letters and in many books that talked about it. So Araunt replies to him and tells him you don't know if it is real or not, and it might end up being just a story and fantasy. Until when will you keep believing in it? So Gran replies to him with determination, no, it exists, and I will be a skyfarer like my father, and I will go to Astral Island. And they start fighting and hitting each other until Araunt's father intervenes and yells at them and punishes them and talks to Gran and tells him, I know this letter makes you happy, but you are still young. When you grow up you will get the chance and then you will be ready for it. Gran wakes up in the present and finds himself in his house, and beside him Lyria, who cries as soon as he wakes up and asks him, do you feel pain from anything? So Vuaren and Catalina come to her voice and reassure him. So Gran asks Catalina what happened with the soldiers of the Empire, so she replies to him and tells him they withdrew from the island. So he asks her about the villagers, and she replies, nobody got hurt or anything except you. You were the only one injured, you were dead. So Vuaren objects and tells her, how is he dead? Catalina replies and tells him that he is alive thanks to Lyria's power, but magic does not bring back the dead. And Catalina tells them, I need to tell you what is happening in the Empire. They were doing research on the crystals and Lyria was their way in those studies. So they were holding her for a long time and I wanted to take her out and protect her. And Lyria's power lies in that she can control the beasts of Astral Island. And surely the dragon she summoned was from the beasts of the island. So Vuaren cuts her happily, meaning she is from the legends of Astral. She replies to him, I don't think so because they all died long ago. So Gran asks her, then what is she? Lyria replies, we don't know, I have no memories before the Emperor took me, but I know I have great power. When you died I knew I could do something, and I was able to merge my power with you, that is why you are alive, but we cannot be separated. So Catalina explains to him, meaning you two are now one being, if you separate you might die. And Catalina continues and tells him, we were planning to leave this island before the return of the Emperor, so now you must come with us. And they go out of the house and find the villagers making a big feast and celebration for them. So Catalina cuts the celebration and tells them, we apologize because we are the reason for the Empire attacking you. So one of the villagers replies and tells them, don't apologize, the important thing is Gran is fine. And the rest of the villagers agree, but Catalina cuts them with her words and tells them, I cannot cause you more trouble, we will leave tomorrow. And Gran adds, I also will go with them. And they return to the house and Catalina repeats her apology to Gran. So he tells her, it is not your fault I died and that Lyria gave me half her power to live. I remember when you stretched your hand to me, I was the one who held it. I also wanted to live. Not only that, I wanted to travel, and there is a place I want to go because my father is there and I don't know exactly where he is, but I will look for him. And VYRN replies to him, I was sure you would say that, and I also want to go with you. The more we are, the more the fun increases. So Catalina tells them seriously there is a place that has the answer about Lyria's truth, and it is Astral Island. And they return to the villagers, and Gran tells them, I will go with Lyria and Catalina on the journey and achieve my dream. So Catalina explains to them and tells them we will go to a place called the Dark Abyss. So the villagers are surprised because that place is known to be full of ferocious beasts. So Catalina continues her words and tells them I learned that the location of the island is behind the Dark Abyss. So their words are cut by Araunt's agitated voice. Are you serious about the decision of this dangerous journey? And if you will go, why take Gran with you? He also will become a target for the Empire. So Gran replies to him, I was the one who asked them, and that makes Araunt angrier, and he tells him you never think logically. So Araunt's father cuts them and tells him Gran waited a long time to find his chance, and the time came to achieve his dream, and we all know that from the day he received the letter from his father, he was training for this moment. So Araunt speaks sadly and says, I also know this is your dream, and you are ready for it, but will you return to us again after you meet your father? So Gran replies to him, I promise you I will return again. And they are interrupted by Lyria's stomach growling because she was hungry, so the villagers laugh at her and they start eating. And when morning comes, they prepare to depart, and Gran is surprised when he saw for the first time a real airship. So Araunt's father tells him the weather is nice and similar to the day your father bid you farewell. Venture, Gran, and see what your father saw and search for him. So Catalina operates the ship, but instead of going up, it goes down, so VYRN screams at her and tells her pull the lever up. So they fly above the clouds with amazement from them, and Gran says, I never imagined our island is that small, but I promise them I will return again, and surely I will return again. After not a long time in the sky, suddenly the ship falls with them onto Ingana Island and is destroyed, but nobody gets hurt, and we find that on the island a person sees the ship falling, so he goes to them and inspects the ship. And he tells them you destroyed the ship and also burned the engine, this might never fly again, and he asks them who was piloting it. Catalina tells him I was the one who piloted it, so he asks her about the temperature it was flying at and its speed, so surprise shows on Catalina's face. So the man gets angry at her and tells her, how did you pilot it while you do not know these things? Go train before you use an excellent ship like this and end up destroying it. And the man leaves while angry, so VYRN says we need a place to rest. So Catalina tells them then let's go to the city. So they head to the city, and their Gran is very amazed by the many people and the airships filling the sky. So Catalina explains to him that the markets here are full of ship equipment, and also the island does not belong to the Empire, so there is no worry from them. And we can prepare ourselves and use a passenger ship so we can continue our journey. So they go down to the city market, and there we discover Catalina's big love for cats and cute animals, and Gran's interest in swords, and a nicely shaped diary notebook catches Lyria's attention, so Catalina tells her, what do you think we buy it and I teach you reading and writing? So Lyria is happy and buys it, and they walk to see the rest of the city and are surprised by the buildings there and by their shapes and sizes, and they stand before the castle, and Gran asks, what is this big building? An old local man replies to him, you like the castle, right? You are surely not from our island. So Gran tells him, we are visitors, but what is done in this castle? The old man replies, this castle is a resting place for merchants. So they enter and rent a place to spend the night. Morning comes, and they go to book on the ship and discover there are no seats, and they hear the sound of a big ship in the harbor, and Gran likes it very much. And the man who received them when they fell on the island enters, and we learn that his name is Rackham, and he tells him you have very good taste in ships, and as long as you love the sky and flying, then you must love ships and know how to pilot them and understand the movement of the winds and know how to adjust the ship according to the winds. So VYRN asks him, are you a skyfarer? Rackham replies, I was a skyfarer but now no, and he offers to take them to a place so they can see something, and when they arrive, they are surprised that their ship, which was destroyed, became new again. So Gran asks him, how were you able to do this? Rackham replies and tells him, I was very skilled in these works. I will return it to you, but on condition someone who understands is the one who pilots it. They are interrupted by the sound of two boys coming asking them for help. So Gran asks them, what do you need us to help you with? One of the boys replies, we have an extra warship, would you like to take it? So Gran and Lyria naively believe, but Rackham tells them this talk is not logical at all, what do you want? So the same boy speaks and tells them, what do you think you buy these apples from us? Here VYRN's love for apples makes him run to them, but Lyria grabs him and tells him Catalina warned us not to go with a stranger. So the boy says Lieutenant Catalina always gets ahead of us by a step. Then he realizes he slipped and exposed exposed himself, so his friend speaks while drawing his sword and says now we must use force with them. Rackham pulls the ship's rope and tells Gran the moment I give you a signal run, and he lets go of the rope and tells them to run, so Gran and Lyria and Vyrn run from the back door, but the two boys chase them and after not a big distance they manage to reach them, so Gran tells Vyrn take Lyria and go to Catalina and I will stall them here. Vyrn refuses to leave him alone and the two boys start mocking him and one of them attacks Gran with his crystals that explode, and a big fire forms so Gran blocks it, and we find plants moving on the walls and dropping the ceiling on them, and they shrink again until they reach their owner who immediately disappears. And here Rackham's voice comes from an underground passage calling them to come down, and when they go down Rackham tells them this is a secret corridor made during the war and addresses his words to Gran and tells him you are very reckless and have a great future but you must think carefully. On the surface above Catalina is searching for them and calling in a loud voice, and suddenly a small trapdoor opens beneath her and Rackham comes out of it and tells her so you are Catalina, and behind him come out Gran and Lyria and Vyrn, so Lyria speaks and tells Catalina that Rackham is the one who helped them to reach her, so Rackham tells them I will not help you again and leaves. They all go to a restaurant and Gran tells Katarina what happened and that the Empire is chasing them, so Catalina tells him the place is not safe and we must leave as soon as possible, but all seats on the passenger ship are booked, we must think in another way. They are interrupted by the voice of a little girl who tells them it looks like you have a problem, I can help you, and when surprise shows on their faces, she tells them I am Ciero and I have a shop, so Lyria tells her I am amazed that you are a child and you have a shop, so Catalina apologizes to Ciero and tells Lyria she is not small but from the Harvan lineage, and it is a lineage that does not grow but she is a mature person, so Catalina asks her can you get us by a warship to transfer us to another island? She replies unfortunately all the ships are not free but I have a small ship for sale and at a good price. So Catalina tells her the problem is that we do not have someone who can pilot it. The girl replies and tells her it is hard to find a ship but easy to find a retired captain here on the island, and one person in the restaurant adds like Rackham for example who was a captain but the commanders abandoned him and he is now obsessed with his ship's wreck trying to fix it. So they decide to go to Rackham, and as soon as they arrive they are amazed by the beauty of his ship and that it is not wreckage and that he managed to repair it, and they hear the sound of soldiers coming so they hide in a small building, and the commander of the soldiers is a domineering person whom Catalina already knows, and he boasts that he will kill all the people of the city and when one of his soldiers objects he kills him, so a sound of agitation comes from Lyria and Gran, so he realizes there is someone in the building and orders its immediate destruction. So one of the soldiers destroys it with a shell, but they manage to escape before the destruction, and when he sees them the commander immediately recognizes Catalina and tells her glad I saw you Catalina the runaway, and he continues mockingly are you going to escape with this weak ship from the island? And he orders her arrest, but from behind a distant cave bullets come at the soldiers, and it is deliberate not to hit the soldiers and one of the bullets hits a door to an underground passage, so Gran realizes that Rackham is behind the attack to open for them to escape, and they all go down into the passage. And when they go down to the passage Catalina is worried and does not know where this place leads, but Gran is reassured and a light comes from afar and we discover it is Rackham, but he is angry and tells them of course you will thank me again but I was not helping you I was protecting my ship, anyway this passage ends at my house, I will host you there today. And when they reach the house they find it full of mess and drawings of ships, so Rackham apologizes to them for the state of the house and asks them why were you near my ship? Gran replies we were looking for you because we need a captain for our ship. Rackham refuses and tells them I will not fly except with my own ship, and he starts telling them about it and says this ship has been there since my childhood, and I put all my effort to repair it until I became skilled in fixing ships, but a storm happened and destroyed it again, and when I tried to fix it again I could not. And he continues I was the one who chose my ship, and if it did not choose me then it is not right to fly in the sky, and I know this is superstition but I believe in it. And he directs his words to Gran and tells him Gran you are a skilled person and you will become something great, and I have no problem teaching you anything, and I am sure you will be able to learn, so Gran thanks him, and Catalina cuts them and tells them we must warn the islanders that the Empire intends to wipe them out, and they thank Rackham, and before leaving Rackham offers to continue with them, and tells them since I knew what the Empire is planning then I must join. At that time the soldiers' commander is yelling at them about what happened, and tells them how did Catalina escape us and how did that sniper manage to distract you, but no problem we will wipe them all out along with the rest of the island, and he asks one of the soldiers is everything ready? The soldier replies everything is ready and arranged. Suddenly the weather changes and the winds become strong, and Rackham is surprised because this is not natural, so Catalina says what could be their plan? Could they have weapons able to destroy the whole island? Suddenly they are interrupted by the voice of the two boys who tried to kill them in the market, so Vyrn gets scared of them and tells them, "You again? What do you want?" Here Catalina understands and asks them, "You want to take back Lyria? I will not allow you to touch her even." So one of the boys replies to her, "No, we are not up to such big words. We are only still on our promise and our offer still stands." So Lyria tells him, "You really want to give us your warship?" And the boy adds he does not need payment also. So Catalina replies angrily, "We will not accept any service from you until we know who you are and what your interest is in all this." So the two boys get angry and tell her in this case we will have to use violence, and one of the boys attacks with his exploding crystals on Gran, but Rackham defends him and attacks the boy, and we find the other boy attacked Catalina and Gran started to attack too. But suddenly we find the weather became worse and tornadoes started to form, so the two boys retreat and say this is the time to withdraw. The commander started executing his plans and they escaped. So Vyrn gets upset that they left without knowing who they are and how they belong to the Empire and still want to help them. So Catalina tells him the Empire is divided into factions, not all under one general, but Lyria feels a bad feeling because of the weather. Suddenly the tornadoes strike the houses and chaos is everywhere and the houses collapse and people run in every direction and they resort to the castle and they hope it will withstand the storm, and the sounds of the storm grow louder, so Gran and Rackham go out to explore and the castle glass is destroyed and they realize the castle will not withstand the coming storms. So Rackham asks the harbor master if there are any ships present. He tells him there is one ship at the docks. So Rackham asks the people if there is anyone who can pilot the ship. One of them replies to him, "No one, but you can do this. Please help us at least save the children and women." So Rackham says, "Rely on me, I am used to flying in strong winds," and they go to the ship to prepare it for flying, and suddenly they find an airship targeting it and firing at it. And they hear the voice of the domineering commander from the warship. He tells them, "I will explain the trick. The island is now under the influence of the Lady of the Winds, who used to rule this island long ago, and she is very angry at you because you do not believe in her existence now and you forgot her," and he laughs. So Lyria says, "I need a ship to fly near the Lady of the Winds. I will be able to stop her." Catalina objects and tells her, "I will not put you in danger," but Lyria insists and says, "I know what I will do." So Rackham cuts them and says, "I do not understand anything and I do not know what you can do, but if there is a way we can save all these people, then I can help you." So they go to Rackham's ship and he starts operating it and hopes it will fly and talks to his ship and tells it, "You are not accepting me, or you do not like to leave the island. In any case, I hope we fly together." And he pulls the lever and raises the sails and the ship rises with them into the sky. In the sky, Gran is worried about the ship and asks Rackham, "Is this ship safe?" He replies to him, "Of course," and he asks Lyria, "Where should I go?" So she points him to the big cloud because the Lady of the Winds is there. We notice that Gran also feels the Lady of the Winds because he is living with Lyria's power, so Rackham warns that the Lady of the Winds senses their presence and might attack us at any time. On the warship, we find the commander asking one of the soldiers, "Is the device working well?" He replies to him, "Yes, it is working well," and the Lady of the Winds' power turned out bigger than we imagined. The Lady of the Winds attacks the ship with meteors and rocks, but Rackham manages to dodge her attack. The Lady of the Winds doubles the attack, and here Rackham asks Gran, "Do you know how to make the ship at maximum speed?" Gran answers him, "We pull the power lever all the way." Rackham laughs and tells him, "With me there is a better way," and he lowers the lever completely and the ship falls with them until they are safe. Then he lifts the lever. There they see the Lady of the Winds with a purple crystal on her chest, and the soldiers are controlling her through that crystal. The moment she sees it, Lyria puts her hands on her crystal and tries to communicate with her, and she asks her not to destroy the island. But the Lady of the Winds responds by launching more meteors at them and is not answering them. So Lyria asks Rackham to fly until he is above the Lady of the Winds, and Rackham succeeds in executing her request. So Lyria addresses Gran and tells him the Emperor managed to control the Lady of the Winds because of the crystal on her chest. So she grants him extra power from her and tells him the only solution is to destroy the crystal. Gran stands at the edge of the ship amid the strong winds and the meteors of the Lady of the Winds and decides to throw himself onto the rock debris, and the Lady of the Winds starts attacking him with rocks and meteors. Gran dodges her attacks and manages to destroy the rocks with a strike from his sword. Suddenly he comes out from the debris and attacks the Lady of the Winds and breaks the crystal. And with the destruction of the crystal, the rocks vanish and Gran falls into the void. Then the Lady of the Winds regains her consciousness and saves Gran and takes him to the ship. And Rackham speaks to the Lady of the Winds and apologizes to her and tells her, "We were wrong to forget you, and to treat the stability of the weather as something natural while you were doing much for us. And you are the reason for the prosperity of our island." The Lady of the Winds smiles and disappears, and a gemstone appears to Lyria, so she knows it is a gift from the Lady of the Winds for saving her. And they return to the islanders, and Lyria thanks Rackham for helping them, and that he saved the townspeople and the Lady of the Winds, and she tells the islanders now the Lady of the Winds is fine, and the weather will return good again. But Rackham interrupts her and blames the townspeople, and tells them we also are the reason for what happened. We are the ones who forgot the Lady of the Winds. We must always remember her and value what she does for us. So things return to normal and the city regains stability, and we find Lyria and Vyren sitting in the little girl's shop waiting for Gran, who is on his way to them, but his health is not good. Catalina meets him on the way and scolds him and tells him, "You are careless and reckless. How do you throw yourself from the ship? You could have died again. What were you thinking when you did that?" He tells her, "I thought only that I must save all those people." She asks him, "Did you not think of the possibility of failure?" He tells her, "I was expecting the power Lyria gave me would surely help me." She yells at him and tells him, "From now you must ask me in everything. I am now like your guardian. Ask me and I will do my best to solve any problem we face." He apologizes to her and they go together to Lyria and Vyren at the shop, and the moment they enter he tells them he is fine, nothing is bothering him except that they ate without him, and they all laugh. And Lyria takes out the gift of the Lady of the Winds and lets Gran touch it, and suddenly he sees strange things. A volcano will erupt and a city being destroyed. Catalina and Vyren are surprised because they do not see anything. They are interrupted by the voice of the little girl, the shop owner, who tells them using magic here is forbidden, but asks Lyria, "Is that in your hand a sky map magic?" Lyria and Gran do not understand what she means, so Catalina explains to them that the magic map is said to be a heritage from Astral, and we must gather all its parts to be able to cross the dark gate that leads to the Sky Kingdom. But why did the Lady of the Winds gift it to us? And the girl, the shop owner, is very happy that she saw a sky map because it is her first time. Vyren replies to her Gran's father had one, but Gran does not remember. And Lyria tries to describe to them what she sees and says, "The moment I touch it I feel I am in another place, and a red mountain and a building with smoke coming from it." So the girl thinks for a while and then tells her, "Your description is like the state of vaults." And night comes on them, and we find that Gran did not sleep and went to Rackham, who was fixing his ship that was destroyed in the battle. Rackham asks him, "Why did you not sleep like the rest?" He tells him, "There is something I want to tell you. I want you to be the captain of our ship." So Rackham asks him, "And where do you intend to go?" Gran replies to him, "There is a place I want to go. That place is Astral Island, because my father is there." And he shows the letter his father left him. Rackham holds it and reads its content, "My dear son, I am waiting for you in Astral Island." So he tells Gran, "We always hear about that island in legends and stories. I do not know if I can believe it is real. Are you sure of your father's words?" Gran tells him, "I am not sure because I did not see it with my own eyes." Rackham smiles and tells him, "So you want to see it, right?" Gran tells him, "I want to go there, and to do that I need to be a skyfarer like my father and have big experience and many allies." Rackham tells him, "Challenging the fantasy Astral Island? Why not? Count me with you from now." And in the morning Catalina goes to Rackham and asks him, "Are you sure you want to come with us? I feel you may have rushed a bit in your decision." He replies to her, "Do not worry, I know what I want. I know the journey is dangerous," and he adds while laughing, "But because I am the captain everything will be fine and we will not fall with the ship. I am very happy my ship flew and I like to fly it in the world." She tells him, "I am very happy you will be with us. I will depend on you a lot." At the same time, the two boys who chased Gran in the market are reporting to their commander and telling him, "We failed to get Lieutenant Catalina and the rest out of the island, and the lieutenant managed to protect the island," and they confirm to him that they managed to spread the rumors all over the island as he asked them. And on the ship we find the shop girl offering Catalina a mission and tells her this is a secret mission and the client needs to talk with you personally. He will be in the state of vaults. Everyone asks Catalina, "What will we do?" So she directs her words to Gran and tells him, "We will do what you order us to do, Captain." Gran is surprised that she wants him to be the captain. Rackham tells him he is the one who gathered them, and Vyren adds to him, "Gran, your father at your age had a crew also." So with challenge he says, "Then our destination is vaults." And in the sky of vaults they are amazed by the beauty of the city and the greatness of the volcano, and Rackham tells them prepare for landing. And the moment Rackham descends he asks one of the workers in the port about entry permits. So the man replies to them, "Who of you is the captain of the ship?" So Rackham points to Gran. The man replies mockingly, "How can a child like him be the captain?" So Rackham tells him he is truly young, but if I were you I would not underestimate him. Gran speaks firmly and tells him we can do the required papers right now. At that time Catalina is telling the rest of the crew about vaults, and tells them here most of the volcanic lava never stops and the townspeople use this in making steel. They are interrupted by the voice of Sierra, the shop owner, who tells them, "You seem amazed by the beautiful city." So Catalina tells her, "How did you know to come here? We left the island and you were still in the port." So Sierra tells her, "I am everywhere," and laughs. Lyria believes her and is very amazed, so Catalina is surprised by Lyria's naivete. Sierra tells them, "I brought you a mission," and takes out papers and hands them to Gran and tells them, "We cannot discuss anything here, but I have advice for you. Watch your actions because people here get nervous from strangers." So they ask her what she means. She tells them, "We will talk about this later also." So they go to explore the markets and find that their crafts are beautiful and things none of them saw before, but they notice there are no people in the streets, and if they find someone present he moves away from them. And when they arrive at the place where Sierra and the client will be and Sierra presents them to the client, he introduces himself and tells them, "I am from intelligence," and asks them, "Are you the crew who saved the island from the Lady of the Winds?" Rackham replies to him, "Yes, we are under Gran's leadership." He tells them here your mission is of extreme importance and secrecy. Your mission is to recover our missing prince. The work must be in secrecy secrecy so none of the people know about the prince's disappearance. And he continues that the prince had relations with the emperor and we suspect he is involved in his disappearance. Catalina says this mission is very dangerous and very big and directs her words to Gran and asks him will we accept the mission or not. Gran replies we will accept the mission no matter what. So they split into two teams to start gathering useful information. They go down in the city and ask people about the prince. Many people refuse to talk and discuss, but one woman speaks to them about him and tells them the prince is sociable and loves mixing and he used to come down to the streets a lot to make children tricks and magic. Lyria asks her what magic? Her son replies our prince knows how to do beautiful magic and her daughter adds and he gave me a pretty flower and asks where did he go? And we find that someone was listening to them and suddenly disappears. At the same time Gran and Rackham and Vyrn are asking a woman who owns a weapon shop and she tells them some people say the prince is allied with the emperor to make a weapon that destroys the world. Rackham tells her these are surely rumors, but what is their source? She tells him because the emperor's ships come often lately, but I do not believe what is said, but her assistant adds that the prince has been requesting lots of iron and raw materials. Why might he be collecting all this? She yells at him and tells him you also believe those rumors? He replies to her no, I am sure he is doing something for our benefit. They all gather again and discuss what they knew, and we find that the same hidden person was watching them again and also disappears. So they decide to go to the place people say they saw the prince in, and the place is empty and covered with sand, but Catalina warns them someone is walking behind them hiding himself using magic. Suddenly they hear the voice of a girl screaming, so they go towards the voice and find that three small beasts are chasing the girl. So Gran intervenes and strikes one of them and Catalina strikes the second, so they run away. Catalina says the one spying on us turned out a little girl. The girl screams at her and tells her, I am not a child, I am a magician. What do you know about my master? And she means the prince. They take her with them and ask her about her relation with him and why she was spying on them. She tells them her name is Io and tells them the prince was teaching me magic. Not only that, but he is talented in making machines, but since strange people from the empire visited him, he started acting in an unusual way and after that suddenly disappeared and I am looking for him. When I saw you I felt you have information about him. Rackham tells her we will take this mission from you, you are a child, and may be exposed to danger. She tells him I made my decision and will look for him with you. On the ship Io is very amazed because it is her first time flying, and they ask her about the places the prince often visited, so she tells them about many places but confirms to them she searched all of them except one place, and that is the old stone castle, so Gran orders to head there. And there in the castle the place is empty and the weather very cold and there is no one. Rackham says it is impossible, there are people in this place. Io tells him I feel the presence of the prince's magic here and enters a place and points with her magic staff, so stairs appear to a secret passage. They go down and explore the place and it is colder and full of huge devices. Lyria feels pessimism from the place. Suddenly the two boys who were chasing them on the first island come out and one of them tells Lyria what you feel now is a beast. Rackham shouts at them and asks what are you doing here? Do you like we continue what we were doing before you escaped from us? The boy replies to him we are not here looking for you. We are here with our master who comes out from behind them with a little girl. The moment Catalina sees him she loses her nerves and starts screaming at him and tells him what are you doing here? Gran asks her who is this? She tells him this is the Black Knight, the Emperor's advisor, and she asks the knight angrily where is the prince? He replies to her coldly and tells her do not ask me because I am searching for him too, because your prince asked us to ally together and unite the crystals with his machines and make a new weapon and after that he disappeared, and he tells them the prince's goal is Lyria so she will become his puppet and points to the girl with him and says like my puppet. Suddenly a loud destruction sound happens and from the middle of the explosion a mechanical beast comes out. Io says this is the prince's magic and runs to him to talk to him and tells him I am Io, don't you remember me? He attacks her. Gran defends her and Rackham tries to pull her away from him and Io tries to talk to him again so he calms for moments. Rackham raises his weapon and aims at him and the moment he falls Gran orders them to withdraw to a safe place. Io cries from the prince's reaction and says surely my voice does not reach him, but Lyria tells her the prince heard you and responded to you for moments we only need to try again. So Io asks Gran what will we do now? Catalina says we need to search in the place for any clues. Lyria says I hear a voice calling me and I felt the mechanical beast was talking to me. She points to a place and says the voice is from here and they decide to follow the voice Lyria hears. So they go down to a place underground and Lyria asks Io to tell her about the prince. So she tells her when the prince is interested in machines and magic books he forgets to eat and drink. Maybe in days I go to him and he is covered with machine grease and forgets I am there. He used to learn magic tricks to make us laugh. He is a very kind person. Impossible he is doing something bad. They arrive at a different building and there they find a giant mechanical beast. Lyria asks him are you the one calling me? and we hear the prince's voice from afar telling them, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" Io talks to him and tells him, "What are you doing here? Are you not coming back?" But he ignores her and asks them, "What did you know about my research?" Gran tells him, "We are searching for you and want you to return with us." He tells them, "I am not finished yet. The mechanical beast is useless without your power," and he points to Lyria and tells her, "Because of you I cannot execute my plan to save vaults." The advisor and his puppet and his helpers are hidden behind the walls. So the advisor orders his puppet to grant the mechanical beast from her power. So the beast moves and breaks the ground with one strike. Catalina attacks him but does not affect him, so Rockham attacks him with his firearms, but he is not affected. So Lyria and Gran unite and she grants him from her power, and Gran attacks him with all his strength, making a small scratch. Io tries to stop him with her magic but fails, so Lyria grants her from her power, so the magic unites with the crystal's power and they attack him. So for the first time he is affected and retreats. Lyria tells Io, "If we unite we can defeat him together." Catalina tells Gran and Rockham, "We will try to buy them time," and they unite and attack him at the same time. Catalina attacks his head and Gran his legs, and Rockham shoots him with his weapon and he falls. The prince orders him and tells him, "Get up and burn them." The beast rises and strikes the ground, so volcanic lava rises on them, but Lyria and Io repel the attack and are stronger than him, so they overcome the fire and finish him. The prince collapses beside him and gets angry and tells him who will protect vaults now, but Io goes to him and strikes him and tells him, "Were you not wanting us to be happy? We will not be happy with this machine. Surely there are many other ways to protect vaults. Please return with us. We do not want to lose you." In secret, the advisor orders his team to withdraw from the place, and suddenly the place collapses on them, but the mechanical beast protects them with its body. And when they return to the castle, Io starts telling them and says, "When I was little my father died because of the plague that spread, and I was very sad and did not know anyone and lived alone until I met the prince, and he tried to make me happy and teach me magic and began to take care of me." Lyria cries and tells her, "That is why you were ready to do anything to save him. I also do not know my father and mother. Catalina is the only one who is always beside me. If something happens to her, I do not know how to describe to you what I might feel. So I understand you." Io tells her thank you very much for helping me and makes her a trick and gives her a flower. Lyria is very happy with it. Boarin asks Io why was he always thinking of making children happy. Io replies, "He never told us the reason, but he was always trying to make us happy." Here the prince speaks and says, "The children are the future of the nation, and for this reason I was trying to care for them, but no matter how I tried for the island to be stable, there is always external danger. There must be a power to protect you." Io asks him, "What is that danger?" He tells her, "I had a visit from a person I do not know, and he gifted me something and told me it is a source of power, but I do not remember anything after that. But I apologize to you, Io, I made a big mistake," and he directs his words to the rest of the crew and tells them thank you for caring about Io and helping her. And he says, "I made a mistake when I used the mechanical beast in this way, and in the end I hurt it because it was destroyed." So Lyria tells him, "The beast was not hurt by you. It is the one that protected you from death and decided that its last mission be to protect you and left you a sky map and gives you a red crystal." He refuses and tells her, "The beast surely wants to tell you something. You are the one who must keep it." So Lyria thanks him and they decide to prepare to continue their journey. Io asks Gran, "Where do you want to go?" He tells her, "To Astral Island. My father is waiting for me there." Io asks him, "And what is your destination now?" Gran and Lyria touch the map and see a blue island. Catalina tells them these are the Auguste Isles. Rockham confirms her words and says they are surrounded by the ocean. Gran and Lyria ask, "What is ocean?" Rockham tells them, "There you will know." In the morning, the prince goes down to bid them farewell at the port, and the people are happy to see him again. And from afar, Io runs to catch them. Rockham tells her, "Good, you caught up to bid us farewell." She tells him, "I am not bidding you farewell. I will continue the journey with you. I must become a great magician. I have made my decision." The prince tells her, "I agreed that you offer them the matter, not force your opinion." She replies to him, "I could have hidden in the ship with my magic without permission." They all laugh, and the prince tells Gran, "I hope you agree that she be with you." Gran tells him, "I have no problem, she be with us," and the rest of the crew share and tell her, "Surely we will welcome you with us." On their way, they take Sierra with them because she will open a new shop on an island they will pass through on their way to the Auguste Isles. So Sierra thanks them and tells them, "If you take anything from the shop, I will give you a big discount for helping me." And she tells them, "I will prepare for you the supplies you will need for your journey within 2 days." And about this subject, here on the island there are ruins just discovered and people asked me to do work in them. So Rockham cuts her and tells her, "Do not tell me you offered us the supplies in return for this mission." She replies to him, "I am part of my work never to waste talents like you." So Rockham gets embarrassed and thanks her. Catalina interrupts and tells them, "We will be free for 2 days so we can help." So Gran asks Sierra, "Where are these ruins?" She tells him, "I will prepare you a map immediately." So they start their journey in searching for the ruins, and they arrive at a big beautiful castle in the middle of the forest. Rackham tells them let's go explore the castle, but Catalina cuts him and tells him no one discovered this place before, we must be cautious. Rackham tells her we are the ones who must know what is inside, we will not gain anything if we do not enter. Io joins him and tells them we must enter and see the place ourselves. Rackham laughs and tells her Io the troublemaker is right. Io gets angry and tells him I am not a child. They laugh at them. Suddenly the ground under Lyria collapses and she is half above and half below the ground. Gran tries to save her but the ground collapses under him too. Suddenly the ground collapses completely under all of them and they fall underground and find themselves in a big place, but not all together. Gran and Rackham and Io in a place and Lyria and Catalina and Vyrn in another place. Catalina says this is a trap to get rid of strangers, or the place is old and collapsing, but the important thing now is that we reach Gran and the others. Vyrn offers that he flies and searches for the rest, but bats come out to them and Catalina kills them and tells him the place is not safe for you to be alone. Lyria tells her I can know where Gran is. At the same time Gran tells Rackham he can know where Lyria is because he shares with her the same life force. I do not know exactly where she is, but I can determine the direction to walk, so he points them to the direction to walk, and the moment they get close they find a flood coming out from the gate. Io defends them and makes a wind cyclone with her magic around them, preventing the water from reaching them, and they continue their way. At that time Lyria is leading Catalina and Vyrn, but they do not reach anything, and she tells them I started feeling Gran's presence everywhere. Vyrn tells her Gran has a high sense and tells her the first time when we saw you it was Gran's sense that led us to you. Catalina tells her but Gran is always reckless. Vyrn confirms to her and tells her when we were young Gran loved to depend on himself and not ask anyone for anything. I am very proud of him and know how much he struggled to reach his level. Now, I will help him until he meets his father. Catalina tells him it is hard that his father ventured on this journey alone, surely he had a crew. On the other side Io tries to light the way with her magic but cannot, so Rackham lights a piece of wood and gives it to her, and tells her no need to tire yourself, adults know how to handle things. She gets angry at him and tells him I am not a child, and they fight. Gran laughs at them. Rackham asks him why are you laughing? Gran replies their fights remind him of himself and Vyrn. When they were exploring a cave in their town they got lost and kept fighting, but in the end they found the way out. Suddenly they hear loud sounds of destruction and screaming, so they find two girls being chased by a sand beast, and one of them tells her friend surely this beast is the one behind the treasure, so she attacks it with bombs. But it is not affected and attacks the other girl, so Gran intervenes and saves her. Rackham shoots the beast with his weapon, but he notices it is made of sand and regenerates again. Gran attacks it with his sword to make a gap, and the girls throw bombs inside the beast, but it regenerates again and is not affected. Gran orders them to make a combined attack. Gran distracts the beast and Rackham attacks it from behind, and the girls attack it with bombs, and at that time Io makes a flood of water with her magic and finishes it. Suddenly the ceiling opens and Lyria and Catalina and Vyrn fall from above with them, but we find that the two girls are not interested in anything but the door that leads to the treasure. The door opens and the place is full of gold from the ground to the ceiling. But what catches Gran's attention is the sword in the middle of the room. The moment he holds it, a light shines covering the place, and suddenly the place and the gold and everything disappears, leaving only the sword. They return to Sierro's shop, who apologizes to them for not paying for the mission because she was relying on the treasure, and tells them why not consider the sword and the food and drink she will provide you with as the price for this mission. Catalina tells her no problem. Rackham says we were not waiting for a reward for our work. Gran shows the sword to the two girls and tells them you are the ones who deserve it because the treasure disappeared. One of them replies to him, we will not need it, and without you we would have been dead, and she returns the sword to him. They prepare to fly and continue their journey to the Auguste Isles. And on the ship Lyria sleeps and dreams that she killed Gran and the rest of the crew until Gran wakes her and tells her they finally arrived at the Auguste Isles. Catalina tells them this is the only island surrounded by the ocean from all directions. Lyria and Io cannot believe there is such a beautiful place. Rackham tells them get ready because we will dock on the water, and Io gets angry at him and tells him this way we will die, and it is her first time seeing an airship on the water. They arrive at the port but are surprised it is a tourist place, but there is no one present. Lyria feels a primitive beast but says this beast is very weak and asks Gran are you not feeling anything? He tells her I do not feel anything, but there is a strange smell, so they go towards the source of the smell. They find strange parasitic bodies on the shore and smoke coming from a far place, and they hear a voice of a man on a boat telling them stay away from that smoke because we are burning things in it. The man on the boat is surprised and tells Rackham what are you doing here? And here we know his name is Eugen and he is an old friend of Rackham, and asks Rackham about his ship and tells tells him, did you manage to repair it and fly with it or not? Rakam tells him, I repaired it and now we are traveling the world with it. Eugen tells him, and now you are traveling the world with your family, and points to Catalina and tells him, surely this is your wife and these are your children. Rakam tells him, they are not my family, we are skyfarers. Eugen offers him they continue the talk in the city. And on Eugen's ship he tells Rakam, I cannot believe you are not a skyfarer now. Eugen tells him the crisis we are in forced me to become an agent. Rakam asks him about the type of crisis on the island. Eugen tells him we are in war with the Erste Empire because they pollute the sea with their experiments. We tried with treaties, but now there is no option but war, but we will be able to drive them out of Auguste by force, and also we have the Sea Guardian dragon supporting us. And he asks them, where are you going? Gran tells him to Astral. Eugen laughs at him and tells him you must be very brave to go there. And the moment they pass the gates he welcomes them to the most beautiful city built on water, the capital of Auguste Isle. And the city is lively with many people and many shops. Eugen hosts them in a beautiful place and some soldiers enter with an injured person and tell them another beast attacked the shore. Io enters and helps the patient and heals him with magic. Eugen asks her, do you use healing magic? She replies to him and tells him, I am a magician, and tells him, I also want to heal the rest of the injured here. He tells her there are many injured because we are only armed civilians without training. And he tells Io, I will show you the place of the injured. And he asks Catalina to train some of their soldiers. Catalina tells him this is a simple thing I can offer, and she asks Lyria, can you manage without me? Lyria tells her, I became brave and can manage. Catalina tells Gran, take care of Lyria. Eugen asks Rakam to help repair the ships. He tells him, do not ask me for anything. One of the soldiers begs him to repair his ship. Rakam agrees and goes with him. Gran and Lyria ask that they also help, so he tells them you can bring the requests from the markets and get to know the city. They are happy with this fun task. They go down to the market and enter all the shops until Lyria stands before a restaurant and is amazed by the fish she never saw before. She asks the restaurant owner, what is this? He replies in surprise, you did not hear about Auguste food? And two other townspeople tell them, you must try our food. An old man intervenes and tells them, do not bother the customers. And the moment he knows they are visitors he offers them to host them. Gran refuses and tells him, we are in the middle of a mission and cannot waste time. The chef prepares the food in seconds. As usual, Lyria is exposed by the sound of her stomach. Gran asks about the bill. The restaurant owner replies and tells him on the restaurant, and if you liked the food, visit us again and bring your friends and family. One of the chefs tells him, your selling skills are amazing, there is nothing better than investing in the future. Gran and Lyria eat and Lyria enjoys the food and tells Gran, we must all eat here together, the food will be more delicious if we eat it together. At that time Rakam finishes his work and sits with Eugen and tells him this was your plan from the beginning, to bring us with you to help you because you have a shortage of workers. Eugen tells him, you must repay my favors to you, but you have changed a lot. The old Rakam would never leave the leadership of his precious ship to a child. Rakam tells him because this is his life dream. Gran is very straightforward and naive, and I cannot do anything but help him. Eugen cunningly tells him this happens to you because you became old. Io and Vyran enter after finishing their task. Eugen tells them tonight the dinner will be very delicious because it is my turn in cooking. Io offers him that she helps in cooking. He thanks her and tells her that Catalina is already in the kitchen and helping him. They all scream and tell him, you committed the biggest mistake today. Suddenly they hear the sound of an explosion. Catalina made fire in the kitchen. In the market, Lyria is impressed with the jewelry and asks the shop owner, what are these things? He tells her these are jewels made from shells and sea coral, and it is said that if you carry them they will protect you, and every color expresses a mission of the shell. Lyria is impressed with the blue one, so he tells her the blue strengthens the relation between people. Gran buys it and puts it on her. The rain begins to fall on them. They sit in a rest place. She tells him, today reminds me of the day we shopped on the first island we visited, and that day Catalina gifted me a diary. I am writing in it everything the day we met and our adventures, and today I wrote about the beautiful city above the water and about your gift to me. Gran gets embarrassed from her. The city bells ring and the rain stops and a rainbow appears in the sky. Suddenly Gran remembers he forgot to buy the last request from Eugen's list, so he tells Lyria he will go get it alone. On the way, a woman meets him and tells him beware and disappears. Lyria is alone in the rest place and suddenly masked people appear and kidnap her. Gran feels something strange and quickly returns and does not find her, so he searches for her everywhere and sees her hair on a boat in the river. So he chases them, but they go out of the gates and they close on him. An attack happens on the city by the warships and they kill the residents' leader and capture them. Lyria tells him, why do you kill the residents? Why are you this cruel? He tells Lyria, we must be cruel with the islanders because you hid in it. If you had not escaped, the people would be safe, but you are the reason for what happened. You must cooperate with us so we do not kill these people. Lyria tells him, I do not want to cooperate with you. I want to continue my journey with the crew. He tells her, you are just a tool not allowed to travel. The mages left you for us, so we destroy anything with you. You are a tool for us, like the weapon in my hand. And he kills a man from the residence. Lyria tells him, I am not a tool and I do not kill people. He tells her that is because you forgot. I will remind you how terrifying a tool you are. And he orders the soldier to bring him the crystal and brings it close to her so she remembers the number of beasts she killed in just one experiment. He tells her you are a destructive tool you cannot be with common people. If people discover your power, they will use it in destruction. She tells him, but the crew do not kill anyone. He tells her your existence with them will cause them trouble and sadness, and you are the one who will kill them. Lyria remembers the dream, and he continues his words and tells her the best place you must be in is with us, because we are the only ones who know how to control your power, and he pulls from her hair the blue pin and breaks it. From afar, Gran's voice comes who managed to take down all the soldiers, and he gets angry at the commander and tells him I will kill you. What did you do to Lyria? And Lyria is crying for the pin but without voice. The commander replies to him and tells him I only reminded her of her truth. Suddenly from the water the guardian dragon comes out and attacks the commander's ship and splits it in half so the warships attack it. It destroys them. The commander tells Lyria, do you want to destroy everything again? And he strikes her. Gran runs to him and attacks him with his leg so the commander flies and falls into the sea. The rest of the crew arrive but Lyria is not talking. Gran notices the dragon has a red crystal, so he knows evil controls it and says I must save it, but Catalina tells him we must withdraw and go to a high place so we escape from the flood, and we cannot leave Lyria in this state. But they do not manage to escape and suddenly drown in plants that hold them and pull them up. We find it is the same girl who told him in the market beware and disappeared. The girl takes them to a safe place but Lyria never wakes up so Io tries with healing magic but she is not affected. Eugen says surely the guardian dragon is the reason. The girl whom we know her name is. Rosetta tells him the guardian dragon was not like this but the pollution the Empire caused in the sea is what made it like this. But it is not the reason for Lyria's illness. Lyria is the one who cancelled her mind and separated herself from reality. Catalina asks her what do we do to save her? Rosetta replies the cure is not easy, and if we force her to wake up bigger problems may happen. But the only one who can communicate with her is Gran. Rackham cuts them and tells Rosetta who are you and who do you work for and why do you do this? She tells him these are my secrets but I will not harm you. I am the one who has the cure for Lyria. I will leave you time to think and walks away. One of Eugen's assistants enters and tells him the sea level rose again and the waters became polluted. So Eugen and Rackham go down, and the rest of the crew stay with Lyria. Gran tells Catalina when I first saw Lyria she was crying and not responding to my words and the commander Pommern said something about her destroying everything again. He asks her what does he mean? Catalina tells him the Empire did an experiment on Lyria and some beasts on an abandoned island but Lyria summoned something that could erase the island's existence from the earth. We do not know what she summoned, but from that time Lyria was imprisoned and I was chosen to monitor her. And at that time I felt she had no emotions and was just a tool, but with time I discovered she feels but cannot express her feelings well, so I started teaching her to talk and write and express herself. So Lyria started to be drawn to the outside world from the stories I told her about, and she started to think and wish to live freely outside the walls. For this reason I made the decision to let her escape and we met you that day, but you taught Lyria things I could not teach her, and her adventures with you make her very happy. Gran tells her but I could not protect her. Catalina gets angry and tells him I am the one who should protect you, you are just children. But you helped her a lot and managed to make her happy after she was imprisoned and did not know anything about the world. And she tells him you must rest and I will stay with Lyria. Gran goes out and meets Vyren and Gran shows tension and worry so Vyren asks him what are you thinking about? Gran tells him I do not know if I must tell Lyria something what would it be, and what thing would make her isolate herself from the world this way. Vyren tells him no one knows but you can ask Lyria yourself. Your lives are connected so surely you will know how to communicate with her. You are the only one who can do that. Gran thanks him and decides to go to Rosetta and ask her how do I communicate with Lyria. She tells him we must go to a beast, it is the only one who can help you. Gran returns to Rackham and tells him this is the only way. Rackham tells him whatever your decision I will support you even though I do not trust Rosetta. But you are the captain and I will try to help you. Io enters them and screams at them and tells them why do you not include me in the decisions? Lyria is my friend and I must participate in saving her. I must be with you. The crew prepare to fly and Rackham bids Eugen farewell and tells him we will finish this mission and visit you again. We find Sierra arrive to the island to provide them with the food and goods they lack because of the war. She bids the crew farewell and tells Eugen all the things you asked for are ready. Catalina tells Rosetta we are depending on you in this mission. Rosetta tells her depend on me, and she tells Gran our destination is the Lumacy Isles. In the sky Gran shows signs of worry and sadness and Rackham notices his worry, but Rackham directs his words to Rosetta and tells her I do not trust you, so try not to do any strange act. She tells him you are a person very concerned with details and everything. He tells her anyone must wonder about your position with us and your help to us without a clear reason. They arrive at their destination and it is a green island. Rosetta tells them they call Lumacy Isle the Forgotten Island. Catalina carries Lyria who is dreaming she is in a big place full of books and the ground made of blood, and she tries to reach the crew so they appear to her, and the moment she touches Gran he disappears and the rest of the crew disappear, and she hears a voice telling her you are a tool of destruction eliminating anyone no matter who he is. She asks the source of the voice. Am I the reason for their death? It tells her you are the reason for any destruction happening, and her blue hairpin disappears and she collapses and the place around her turns all to ice. On the island, they walk a long path full of slopes. Rockham asks Rosetta, is this the only way? She tells him no, there are other ways, but this is the easiest. They arrive at a big beautiful tree. Rosetta tells them we finally arrived, and she speaks to the tree and tells it, appear, I have guests for you. A small, very beautiful girl appears. Rosetta tells them this is the beast of the abandoned forests, and she is the one who will help us. The forest girl runs to her and hugs her. Io asks them, you are friends? Rosetta tells her, we are more than friends. We are family. The forest girl sees Lyria and looks at her with sadness. Rosetta tells her this girl was hurt badly to the point she isolated herself from the world. Gran tells her, please help us cure Lyria. She smiles and stretches her legs so plants form a resting place. Rosetta asks them to sit. Rosetta starts to explain to them what the forest girl tells her. Because she is the only one who can communicate with her, she tells them she will connect Gran with Lyria so he can talk to her, but the rest depends on Gran. Io gives him Lyria's hairpin and tells him, surely this will help you. I tried to fix it. Lyria was holding it all the time. I could not return it as before, but I tried. Gran thanks her and holds Lyria's hand, and the forest girl holds her other hand. Gran enters Lyria's consciousness, and it is like the sea dark and at the bottom ice surrounding Lyria. He talks with her and tells her, what are you feeling? She tells him these books are all memories of my other personality, memories making me unable to deal with you again. I am the one who forgot myself to escape from being a tool and hurting all people. And she takes him with her to the memory of the abandoned island and tells him, I am the one who erased it when I asked for help from one of my beasts, and I erased the whole island. I am the reason. Gran tells her, the Emperor forced you to do this. She tells him, this is my power. I destroy anything. I am just a puppet for killing. This is the truth I am trying to forget. All the problems we faced in our journey were because of me, because I wanted you to help me. He tries to get close to her, but she warns him and tells him, if you get close I might destroy everything again. Gran tells her, you did not destroy anything. During the long journey you used your power in helping, and you did not destroy anything. She screams at him and tells him, and Catalina? She was one of the best soldiers, and now they are chasing her because of me, and you too, you died because of me. Gran tells her, this is not your fault. Catalina chose to help you. She does not think like that. And without you I would not have made the great journey I wished for in my childhood. You made my dream real. She screams at him and tells him, you could have made your dream freely without all these problems. I am the one who destroyed your future. You and Catalina always helped me, and in return I hurt you. I do not want to hurt anyone dear to me again. And she starts to push him out of her consciousness and tells him, I must disappear. I will grant you my whole life. He screams at her and tells her, Lyria, you understand wrong. She replies to him and tells him, from the beginning I should have given you all my life, not half of it. He begs her not to do this and tells her, I do not want to continue the journey without you. The hairpin falls beside her, so she calms and holds it, and he manages to reach her again and tells her, Io and Viwaran fixed it, and Catalina and Rockham asked me to return it to you. And he goes to her and tells her, you did not destroy anyone. We have a bond and friendship, and you are the reason for it. You chose the blue hairpin because it makes us connected together. You did not destroy our future. You created our friendship. We are all waiting for you. We must continue our journey together. The darkness disappears and a rainbow appears. She tells him this view is the same one we saw in the city. He tells her, but this time I will not leave you, and I will protect you and protect your friends. They both wake up among the crew's amazement, and the moment Lyria talks, Catalina hugs her and cries. Lyria apologizes to them and tells them, sorry I worried you. Rockham tells her now we can continue our journey together, and the forest girl disappears. Suddenly they hear the sound of the war signal and see warships in the sky. The commander Pommern is planning to wipe out the whole island and orders the soldiers to burn all the forests. But Catalina interferes and tells him, I will not allow you to harm the islanders. He tells her, I am happy you appeared. I must reclaim the tool left for us by the astrals and the crystals. Gran tells him Lyria is not a tool or a weapon. He replies to him, she is a destructive weapon, even without using all her power. Catalina tells him Lyria knows the value of her power and knows how to control it. You are the ones who attack her and destroy islands by your actions and your desire to make dangerous experiments. Rockham tells him, you are the ones who polluted the sea and destroyed the island and were going to burn the forests. The commander tells them, then I will use force with you, and he brings out the purple crystal and beasts from the forest appear. He is controlling with the crystal's power, and he orders his soldiers to capture them. Suddenly plants appear from underground, and Rosetta tells him, I will not allow you to harm the forest. The crew attacks the soldiers, and soldier after soldier falls. Gran attacks the commander and targets the crystal and breaks it, but the commander pulls out a weapon and aims at Gran. Here Lyria intervenes and summons the primal beast Tiamat and tells him, I know how to use my power on the people I choose, and Tiamat directs her storm on the commander and he drowns in the sea. Rosetta disappears again. Rockham tells them she helped us a lot, I misjudged her. Lyria tells them the Lord of the Sea is calling her and asks her for help, and that from the moment she entered the island he is talking to her and tells her he wants to protect the sea and the islanders and was protecting her too, but the pollution was preventing him. He needs our help. Rockham tells her, we are with you and we will fulfill your wish, and the old Eugen is waiting for us on the island anyway. Catalina tells her, we will help anyone who needs help. This is our mission. Gran orders the return to Auguste. Rosetta bids them farewell from afar and tells herself surely Gran will succeed because he is the son of the person who ventured with me on my greatest journeys. And on Auguste, the Lord of the Sea completely loses control and starts attacking the city. The forces in the city begin defending with weapons and attack him with bombs and cannons, but he is not affected and he attacks Eugen. Suddenly, the primal beast automaton appears and defends Eugen, and it is Lyria who summoned it. Eugen tells them, I am very happy to see you again and that you are safe, but things with us are not fine. Our guardian started attacking us. Gran offers him help, but Eugen refuses and tells him he is much stronger than us. We must evacuate the city of the residents. Lyria tells him we want to help the guardian beast because he used all his power to face the pollution of the sea. If we do not help him, he may die. We must help him regain his strength to return to his nature. Eugen orders his soldiers to clear the way for the crew so they can reach the guardian beast, and they head to the highest area in the city. The guardian beast attacks them with small parasitic monsters. Suddenly the ruins island girls Mary and Carver appear and offer them help and defeat the small monsters, and all the soldiers of the island with their different skills help in clearing the way for them. The numbers of monsters double, so suddenly a woman surrounded by butterflies appears and can kill the monsters with a strike, and a man attacks the monsters with giant rocks, and a girl with a huge charge, and a young man moving at lightning speed, but the small monsters begin to gather together and make a great attack on them. As if someone is gathering them and giving them orders, Gran feels something strange. They find that in the middle of the big gathering there is a different monster, and it surrounds them all and prevents them from approaching the guardian beast. People intervene and say they are knights volunteering to help. One of them attacks and splits the monster in half, but they gather together again. Eugen approaches the small monsters and targets the different monster and shoots it, and the moment he kills it, the small monsters return chaotic again, and he tells Gran and Lyria this is your chance to restore the guardian beast. Lyria summons the forest girl and grants her power to Gran, and Gran attacks the guardian dragon and targets the crystal, and the closer he gets the more the heat increases and Gran burns from the flames, and Lyria also is affected by Gran's injury and burns, so she grants him additional power and the crystal explodes. Eugen speaks with the dragon and tells him you were always present protecting us and protecting the sea. You are the one who saved my daughter after she drowned. You are the one who saved her. I wished you were present and I am the one saving you, but she left the island. The guardian dragon disappears and leaves a new map for Lyria. Suddenly the Black Knight counselor appears and orders his puppet to do her work. She takes from Lyria's power with her abilities. Lyria asks him, this girl is like me. Tell me about our origin. He tells her still a long time until you know the truth, and he orders his puppet and tells her let's move. In the city, Sierra prepares a big celebration for the end of the mission, and all the people are happy and the knights participate in the celebration. Lyria tells them I need to meet the girl with the counselor again. If I talk with her I may know things about myself, even though I am afraid of knowing myself, but I am reassured by your presence with me. Eugen thanks them and tells them without you my soldiers could not have saved the island. He asks them do you not need someone extra in the crew? He tells them I will go straight to the point. I want to join you in the journey. Rackham tells him why do you want to leave the island and join us? He replies to him and tells him because you go through very exciting things. Also I was postponing something I must do, so I hope you accept me with you. Gran replies with a smile and welcome and tells him we will be happy that you are with us. Eugen tells him this is a very fast decision. Are you sure? Gran tells him your presence will be a good addition. Io says Lyria's usual phrase, the more the number increases the more fun. Eugen cuts them and tells them thank you very much, but this is the time of celebration. They prepare to fly to their new destination and the islanders bid them farewell with big celebrations. Gran asks Eugen, did you order them? Eugen tells him no, these are celebrations from the townspeople for you, and they take off.
After some time had passed, we see Gran and his friends sitting with Sierra, the owner of the tavern, who gives them quests, and she tells them, I have heard many rumors about you, that you defeated many primal beasts. So I have a special mission for you, and Sierra takes out a telegram and gives it to them, so Gran takes it from her, but the rest of the crew ask her if they can receive money for this mission, so they can repair their equipment, and continue their journey to reach the sky, so Sierra agrees, and goes with Eugen so they can agree on the payment amount, and after she finishes with him, she tells them be careful, because this mission is dangerous, and there will be primal beasts in it. And on the next day, they all head to the island where the mission is, and as soon as they arrive there, each one of them starts asking random people so they can learn the island's problem. And we learn that only 2 months ago, the townspeople started hearing a strange and powerful sound suddenly, and every time they think that this sound will not appear again, it comes back stronger than before, and because of that the livestock became terrified to the point that they barely produce milk. And now all the residents are afraid to live on this island. And while they are standing listening to the people's complaints, suddenly they hear that strange sound, and immediately Lyria senses the presence of primal beasts close to them, but she is not sure whether those beasts are the source of the sound or not. And immediately they gather together and go search for the source of the sound. But while they are walking, Gran sees a small child trying to climb down to the bottom of a giant pit, so he can retrieve his toy that fell from him, but his friends stop him because they are worried about him. So Gran quickly steps in and goes to search for the toy instead, and ties himself with a rope so he can descend. And indeed he goes down and finds the toy and takes it. But all at once Gran hears the strange sound again, but this time a very powerful earthquake happens to him, and while he is trying to hold himself steady, his lamp falls into the depths, and suddenly he sees a girl lying on the ground unconscious. And immediately Gran carries her and they go to one of the houses, and they offer her food and drink, and also use healing magic on her so they can treat her. So the girl thanks them very much for helping her, and tells them that she came to this island so she could solve the problem of this sound. Then Yugen and Rakam come from outside, and say we found where the sound is coming from. It is definitely from underground, but unfortunately we will not be able to dig to reach there. So the girl that Gran found tells them, actually I know exactly where the sound is coming from. And immediately they all go to the same pit that the girl had fallen into, and she tells them, when I first came to this island, I went down here because I expected it was a primal beast, and when I followed the trail of the sound, I found something terrifying, and after that I ran away quickly so it would not notice me, but I fell all the way to the bottom. And as soon as they go to the place the girl told them about, they see a terrifying beast imprisoned in a cage, and around it are some people conducting experiments on it, and the surprise is that those people are from the Empire, and at the same time, Rakam and Eugen are catching up with the ship, and the two of them see the Empire's ship circling around the island. And during that, Lyria falls to the ground when she sees that sight and holds her head, so Gran and Catalina go to her so they can check on her, and ask her, is this because of the crystal that suppresses your power? So she tells them no, that crystal only works on the primal beast, but I can hear the screams of that beast inside my head. And suddenly General Pommern, one of the Empire's commanders, arrives, and tells them I knew you would be here. I have been watching you since the moment you arrived. This time I will not be the one fighting you. I will let the primal beast deal with you. And all at once General Pommern destroys the crystal that restrains the beast's power. And immediately the beast breaks free from control, and emerges from underground and reaches the surface of the island among the civilians, and runs toward one of the people so it can kill him. But all at once the girl and Gran appear and stop it, and the two of them try to hold it back as much as they can. And at the same time, Pommern boards the Empire's ship and escapes with his soldiers, but he orders them to launch magic at the ship of Gran and his friends, but fortunately Rakam manages to avoid their attacks, and immediately they waste no time and go to catch up with the girl and Gran against the beast. And Eugen fires flames at it, so Gran and the girl take advantage of the beast moving away from them, and the two of them run behind a tree, and while they are sitting watching the beast, Gran notices a crystal on its back that makes it completely unconscious and extremely aggressive. But suddenly the beast sees them and fires a laser from its tail at them, so they try to run away quickly, but the beast chases them and manages to hit them and throw them far away, and immediately runs quickly toward Lyria and Catalina so it can attack them. So quickly Catalina uses the power of her sword and strikes at it, but it manages to avoid her. But at the same time, Gran and the girl with him notice that the beast cannot see well through fire, so the girl quickly uses her power and releases fire from her body and throws it at the beast, and immediately Gran runs toward it so he can destroy the crystal on its back, and during that Lyria summons a giant knight from the crystal in her chest so it can help Gran, and as soon as it clashes with the primal beast, Gran jumps onto the beast's back and manages to draw his sword and destroy the crystal, before the beast can go to Lyria and kill her, and in the end Gran manages to bring it back to its senses again, and afterward the beast goes to them and smiles at them, and suddenly disappears and enters Lyria's crystal. After that, Gran and his friends prepare to leave the island. But first they stop to say goodbye to its people before they leave, and they greet the girl and thank her for helping them, and afterward they set off on their journey toward the next island. And at night, Gran goes to sit with Lyria, and finds her sitting and writing in her diary about what happened today. So Lyria tells him, do you remember the girl who was with the Black Knight, the Empire's advisor? I cannot stop thinking about her, because she looks very much like me and has the same power as me. I am sure she knows many things about the power I possess, so Gran promises her that when they see her again, he will go talk to her and find out who Lyria is. And on the next day a delegation from the Empire comes to the group, and tells them that the Empire is willing to hold peace negotiations with you. And the person responsible for these negotiations is Lieutenant General Furious, and the location will be Albion Island, but the whole group does not believe the delegation's words, because they are surprised that the Empire would pardon them so easily. After a while, they arrive at Albion Island so they can negotiate with Lieutenant General Furious, but they are very worried, and not convinced that the Empire could let them go that easily. But they hope that this agreement is real, and that they can go explore the skies without being afraid of the Empire after that. Immediately they land at the island's harbor, and all of them are amazed by the beauty of this island. But suddenly Lyria feels that there is something strange there, but she does not pay attention to that matter. Then a delegation from the island comes so they can take them to the castle where the negotiations will take place. And while they are walking, they see the Albion Military Academy, so that delegation tells them about how wonderful this academy is in training new knights, and about the things they study there, and that delegation goes to Catalina and warmly welcomes her, and tells her it is an honor for me to meet a great knight like you. I heard about the fierce battle that happened between you and Vera for leadership. The members of the group become surprised, and ask her about what that delegation is talking about, and they are quickly shocked when they learn from her that she used to study at this academy, and they ask her angrily about why she never mentioned this matter before, but Catalina does not answer them. After a while they all arrive at the castle, and there they meet Vera at the gate, and she is the girl whom Catalina fought before over authority, and now she is the commander of Albion Castle. After that they go upstairs and meet Lieutenant General Furious there, and he signs the agreement document for them stating that the Empire will not target them anymore, but they become even more surprised when they find that there are no conditions at all in the agreement, and the strange thing is that it is impossible for the Empire to leave them so easily, especially since they want Lyria for secret experiments they are conducting. So Gran asks him to explain the real reason behind these negotiations. He tells them actually our research has reached a dead end, and now there is no reason for us to spend very large amounts on useless research. And afterward the general bids them farewell and leaves. After he leaves, the members of the group talk among themselves, so they can decide what they will do, and Yu also examines the agreement and finds that it is official, but they are still convinced that something might happen, so Vera stands up from her place, and tells them do not concern yourselves with the Empire's intentions, at least a pardon decision has been issued for you, so you should relax a little, especially since you came from a long journey, besides that we are holding a party tonight to celebrate your pardon. At night, the crew members prepare for the party, and Vera stands before the audience and delivers a speech to them, and after she finishes, Io and Lyria go to her so they can talk with her, and ask her about her friendship with Catalina, and she tells them that Catalina was the best student in the entire academy, and nobody was able to defeat her in a single battle, and suddenly Vera's assistant comes from behind her, and informs her that there are people who want to speak with her privately. At the same time, Rackham goes to sit on the balcony for a while, and there he meets Eugen, who is sitting and looking at the Empire's ship, which is in the harbor, and the two of them are surprised that Lieutenant General Furious has returned to the island again, even though he left when the negotiations ended. After that Gran goes to sit by himself for a while with Vern his bird, and while they are sitting and talking together, Gran notices a giant image of a strange figure, so Lyria goes to them so she can see where they are. But as soon as she sees that image, she immediately recognizes that the figure in it is a primal beast, and tells them I have been sensing it the whole time, ever since I arrived on the island. Then Vera comes from afar, and tells them that this is not an ordinary primal beast, this is the guardian of Albion Island, and its knights, its power alone can make the knight, who uses it the strongest person in the world. And the only person who is supposed to be able to control it is the ruler of Albion Island, which is me now. But the only condition for that beast to become part of you is that you will never be able to leave this island completely. You are supposed to spend your entire life only protecting this island. After the death of the previous commander 6 years ago, I was chosen as his successor through a decisive battle with Catalina. After a while Catalina joins them, and takes them so they can go sleep, because they have a trip in the morning and need to rest, but Vera calls out to Catalina before she leaves, and whispers something secret into her ear while crying, and as soon as Catalina hears it she becomes very shocked. Afterward, while everyone is sleeping, Gran wakes up and goes outside the room, and there he meets Catalina standing and looking at the sky, and asks her while worried, "Can we trust the Empire? Honestly, I do not believe that these people could leave Lyria alone so easily," so Catalina replies to him, "It does not matter. We are supposed to be happy now and focus on the future, and continue our journey without fear." And before Catalina leaves she tells Gran a strange sentence, which is that "We are happy that we met you when we first escaped from the Empire. Take care of Lyria," and she immediately leaves. But Gran becomes confused by her words, and calls out to her so he can know what she meant by that, but she has already gone. And on the next day, Gran wakes up from sleep to the sound of Lyria knocking on his door. And when he opens it she gives him a letter containing words from Catalina, saying in it, "I am sorry that I am leaving the group and going away. I wanted to say goodbye to you before I left." After that, the team members gather together so they can decide what to do, and they are all shocked and sad that Catalina left them in this way, and did not even talk to them or say goodbye. So Gran remembers his conversation with Catalina, and tells them, "We are not going to let her leave like this. We will search for her and ask her why she left us." But Rackham says she might have already left the island and gone away, so Gran thinks for a while, and suggests to them that they ask Vera, because she is the highest commander on the island and knows Catalina well, so Lyria, and he get excited and quickly go to ask her, but Eugen informs them that he will not come with them, and that he will go to the ship so he can make sure of something, so Rackham remembers what happened yesterday, when they were at the party and saw the Empire's ship, and decides that he will go with Eugen. After a while Gran goes with Lyria and Io to the castle. But they are surprised that the soldiers are preventing them from entering, so they become very confused, because the guards' treatment has changed greatly from yesterday, and they think for a while about how to get inside. Then a brilliant idea comes to Gran's mind. Immediately he sends Vern to the soldiers so he can distract them, and he actually goes there and claims that he saw a giant monster that is going to destroy the island, and takes them away and draws its appearance for them, and quickly Gran and the others rush through the gate, but unfortunately the soldiers see them and run after them, but Vern strikes them and quickly runs with them. After that, Vera's assistant goes to her, and informs her that Gran and his friends managed to storm the castle and get inside, so Vera becomes angry and asks him to arrest them immediately, so the ritual will not be ruined, and says that all of this is because the Empire is late, and we learn that there is a secret agreement between Vera and Lieutenant General Furious, that they will betray Gran and his friends. Then Catalina enters to her and asks her about the reason for the commotion and this huge number of soldiers, so Vera becomes nervous and tries to change the subject, and tells her, "Do not worry, we are only preparing the ritual." At the same time, the soldiers search everywhere for Gran and the others, but Gran is hiding with them in a secret place. After the soldiers leave, two of the castle servants come, and they hear them while they are saying that Vera ordered us to prepare tea for Catalina, so they become happy because they learn that Catalina is still in the castle. After a while, Vera's assistant stands with the soldiers, and orders them that they must arrest the entire crew quickly, before they see Catalina, and after the soldiers leave, Gran comes from behind him and draws his sword and places it on him, and threatens him that if he does not talk quickly he will finish him off. So the assistant says the Empire wants to use the Island Guardian as a weapon, and that is the condition for you to be free, and Catalina is preparing herself to sacrifice herself for Albion. She sacrificed herself for your sake. Suddenly the soldiers come from afar, and immediately the assistant slips away from them and runs quickly, and orders the soldiers to arrest them. But Io stands in her place, and asks Lyria and Gran to quickly go search for Catalina, and she will delay the soldiers during that time. And immediately Lyria and Gran run and head upstairs, and while they are walking they bump into Catalina by coincidence. On the other side, one of the soldiers goes to Lieutenant General Furious, and informs him that Vera requested that they speed up the operation a little. And the surprise is that this operation is opening fire on Gran and his friends so they can get rid of them. But Furious becomes angry at that soldier, and tells him, "As soon as we are ready I will give you the order immediately." At the same time, Gran and Lyria stand before Catalina, and ask her about the reason she is leaving and abandoning them in this way, and how she is sacrificing herself for them, so Catalina stays silent for a while, and tells them I did not do this only for your sake, I did it for Vera as well. And we return to the past 15 years earlier. At that time Catalina joined the military academy, so she could become a great knight and protect the innocent and the weak, but after a short time, something happened that Catalina had never expected at all, which was the death of the supreme commander of Albion Island, and afterward Catalina stands before the academy director, and learns from him that there is a succession tournament among the students, and the winner will become the new supreme commander, but the real problem is that whoever wins will live his entire life within Albion's lands forever. And he tells her it is most likely that the final will be between you and Vera, and because of your great skill you will surely become the supreme commander. But Catalina hears those words while sad, because if she wins she will abandon her dream of becoming a great knight, and all the experiences and training she went through will go to waste. After the tournament begins, Catalina manages to defeat the remaining students one after another very easily, but she keeps thinking all the time about her dream that is slipping away from her whenever she wins a new battle, and while she is hesitant and does not know what to do, she finds herself in the final match. Immediately the match between them begins, and the battle quickly becomes intense, but it is clear that Catalina is better than Vera, and now she is closer to victory in succession, and she raises her sword and is about to bring it down on Vera and win, but at the last moment Vera manages to avoid her strike, and turns the sword toward her, and wins in the end. And Vera turns to her and tells her go pursue your true dream, and thus Vera became the supreme commander of Albion, while Catalina became a knight just as she wished. And we return to the present again, and Catalina tells them and now the bond between Vera and the island guardian has been broken, and no matter how many times Vera summons her, the island guardian always refuses, and because of that Vera's spirit has become broken, and all of this is because of me, because I placed a burden on her that she cannot bear. I cannot live freely while Vera is suffering here, because of me. I will help her and take the succession in her place. Lyria looks at her while extremely sad, and Gran tries to get closer to Catalina so he can convince her to abandon that decision. But suddenly Vera arrives with the soldiers and surrounds them. Then she tells them, Catalina, now you can continue your journey without fear. This is the best solution for you. So Gran shouts at her and says, what about Lyria? But Catalina smiles and still does not change her mind, so Lyria continues crying bitterly, and afterward Vera goes to Catalina and takes her away. After a while the soldiers force Gran and the others out of the castle, and they are very sad about Catalina, but suddenly Rosetta appears before them, and tells them the best thing you can do is continue your journey. You should not stay here and put your lives in danger, because if anything happens to you, Catalina's sacrifice will be for nothing. But Lyria is sad because she wanted to stay with Catalina forever. So Gran becomes angry and suggests to them that they cancel the agreement with the Empire, because if they do that Catalina will not be forced to control the Island Guardian, and immediately they gather themselves and head toward Lieutenant General Furious. And we return to the past 6 years earlier. Vera was living a harsh childhood, and on top of that she had almost no friends. But everything changed when she met Catalina for the first time. At that time Vera was attacking a wild monster, but suddenly a number of monsters attacked her at the same time, so Vera could not deal with them, and she was about to die. But Catalina suddenly appears and saves her, and comes closer to her and extends her hand so she can help her stand up, while smiling at her. After that Vera tried to get closer to her, and she used to make sandwiches for her and give them to her, and they would sit and eat them together. So Catalina thanked her very much, and from here they became close friends, and they started going everywhere together, to the point that they used to do almost everything together, but all of that changed when Albion's supreme commander died. At that time Vera was preparing food for her, and when she went to give it to her, she overheard her conversation with the academy director while she was arguing with him, because she did not want to inherit the succession and wanted to become a great knight. Because of that, when they met in the final match, Vera was fighting with all her strength in order to defeat Catalina, so she could take the succession and let her become a great knight, until she actually defeated her in the end. After that, Catalina packed her bags and prepared to leave the island, after graduating officially, and she looked at the castle for the last time while feeling sad about Vera, and at that same time, Vera was alone in the castle crying intensely, because her only friend had traveled away and left her. And we return to the present again. At that time Catalina is sitting in her room, and officially preparing for the ceremony of her succession instead of Vera, and while she is sitting there, she thinks about Gran's words while feeling sad. Then Vera enters carrying food with her, and tells her when the Empire suddenly announced that you were a fugitive. I could not believe it. At that time I said your dream of becoming a knight would be taken away from you. On the other side, Gran and the others go to Lieutenant General Furious while angry, and tell him we will not let Catalina sacrifice herself for us, and Gran takes out the agreement and tears it apart in front of him, and takes Lyria, and they quickly run away and board the ship and head toward Catalina at the castle. Immediately Lyria and Gran arrive at the ritual site, and enter upon Catalina and Vera at the right time, but as soon as they approach them, Gran crashes into an invisible barrier, and gets up from the ground, and tells her we cancelled the contract we made with the Empire, you do not have to sacrifice yourself for us. He approaches the barrier and tries to break it with all his strength, but Vera laughs at him and tells him the ritual has already started, and nobody can stop it anymore, but Catalina is hesitant and sad, so Lyria approaches the barrier as well so she can help Gran, but she feels a strange power coming from Vera, yet she does not pay attention because she is focused on convincing Catalina, and tells her remember when you showed me the sky for the first time, and promised me that you would teach me everything, and that we would travel the world together. She asks her to abandon her decision and come with them, but when Gran tells her if you sacrifice yourself for us, how can we be happy, Catalina changes her decision in an instant, and manages to break the barrier around them, and goes to Lyria and Gran who suddenly fell to the ground. Here Vera is extremely shocked and cannot believe herself, as she watches Catalina extending her hand to Lyria so she can take her and leave, and suddenly the Empire strikes the castle with a weapon, but fortunately it does not hit any of them, and when Catalina looks at Vera, she is shocked that she can use the Island Guardian's power, so Lyria says the Guardian's power was with Vera the whole time, the barrier that stopped us was from her power as well. Then Vera says after you left the island I was literally crying every day, I sacrificed myself so you could achieve your dream, and become a great knight, and when I heard that you were a fugitive I became very sad, I wanted to search for you by any means, but unfortunately I cannot leave the island. If you had not appeared in her life none of this would have happened. Suddenly Furious orders the soldiers to fire at the castle again, so Vera rises from the ground, and sees Catalina moving closer to Lyria so she can check on her, while leaving her lying on the ground, and suddenly Vera becomes extremely angry, and releases the Guardian's power within her, and goes to the ship carrying Lieutenant General Furious and completely destroys it. Then goes to Catalina and tells her give me a little time, and I will kill all of your friends so we can be alone. Immediately, support ships from the Empire arrive at the island, and as soon as they see Vera they bring out the cannons and quickly fire at her, but Vera manages to block the attacks coming toward her, and moves closer to the ships, and uses an overwhelming laser-like power, and she manages to destroy all the ships in a single second, and on the other side, Lyria and Gran are shocked by the power of this Island Guardian. Immediately Vera runs at full speed toward them, and strikes Gran and throws him away, so Lyria becomes frightened for him and runs toward him so she can check on him, but Vera comes from behind her and is about to strike and kill her, but at the last moment Catalina saves her, and asks her to stop the madness she is doing, but by now Vera has lost control of herself. Suddenly Yugen fires flames at her, but Vera manages to use a shield and block the attack, and before she starts attacking them, Rackham arrives and throws a gas round at her so she cannot see. So Gran takes advantage of what happened, and goes toward Catalina and grabs her hand and escapes with her, and they board the ship and fly away at great speed. They finally manage to escape from the island, but Catalina is sad that she left Vera in that way, and says I am the one who forced Vera to carry everything, I am supposed to bear the mistakes of the past. So Rackham laughs at her, and turns the ship around so they can return to the island again, and they tell her we will do anything for you, we will go back and save Vera from what she is going through. But suddenly Vera does not wait for them to return to the island again, and she is standing before them ready to destroy the ship, but Rackham miraculously manages to avoid the attack, and quickly heads toward the village, and at the same time Io and Lyria find a way to summon a beast that can defeat Vera, and ask the others to delay Vera as much as they can, until they complete the summoning ritual. Indeed, Catalina and Gran jump from the ship onto the castle, and try to escape from Vera's continuous attacks against them, and as soon as she charges toward them, Catalina manages to block the strike, and here Gran takes advantage of the situation and runs toward Vera so he can hit her, but she is much faster than him, and manages to attack him first while extremely enraged. She kicks him and throws him toward the edge of a fall, so Catalina runs toward him so she can save him, but Vera produces ropes and binds her, and approaches Gran and draws her sword and prepares to finish him off. But quickly Eugen fires a bullet at the restraints and manages to free Catalina, and immediately she runs toward Vera so she can move her away from Gran, but Vera easily manages to strike her and throw her away. But Gran manages to stand up again, yet Vera drives her sword into him, and grabs him by the neck and flies with him, and points her sword at his face, and prepares to finish him off. But Gran manages to use the power of his sword and strike her with it. However, he falls from the air, and is about to crash into the ground, so Catalina quickly goes to him and manages to catch him, and they clash with Vera. Suddenly Lyria and Io manage to complete the beast summoning ritual, and all at once a giant water dragon appears, and blasts her with water with tremendous force, but Vera also fires her laser toward it, and unleashes all her power, but all of that is not enough, and the dragon creates sharp ice spheres and throws them at her, and manages to eliminate the guardian's power within her. Vera rises from the ground and grips her sword, and enters a battle with Catalina for the second time, and tells her, "I sacrificed myself so you could become a great knight, but despite that your friends deceived you and led you astray, and now that sacrifice of mine has been wasted," and she keeps striking at her with her sword while enraged, but Catalina manages to block all of it. Then Vera tells her, "I can never accept you like this. The memories I made with you were the only thing keeping me going," and Vera asks her to stay with her forever, and promises that she will do everything for her. But Catalina refuses and apologizes to her, and here Vera is shocked and holds her head, and cannot believe that she has been betrayed like this, and looks at Gran angrily, and runs toward him with her sword so she can strike him. But suddenly Catalina quickly comes and takes the blow in his place, so Vera is shocked and looks at the sword embedded in her, and asks her, "Why did you do that?" So Catalina apologizes to her for leaving her and not even coming to visit her once, so Vera cries intensely and hugs her tightly. After that, Io comes and heals Catalina's wound, and suddenly the island guardian appears, and goes to Lyria and gives her part of its power, and approaches Vera and greets her and suddenly disappears. So Lyria tells Vera while smiling, "You are free now, you can go anywhere you want." After that, Gran and his friends prepare to leave the island, but they say goodbye to Vera first before leaving, so Gran asks her to join their group, and continue the journey with them together. But Vera refuses under the pretext that she wants to stay on the island and reflect on what she has done, so they board the ship and bid her farewell and head toward the next island. Immediately afterward, General Pommern appears on the Empire's ship and orders his soldiers to fire the cannons at them, so Gran quickly points toward a nearby island and asks Rakam to head there as fast as possible. And as soon as Rakam gets close to the island, General Pommern is shocked and becomes very afraid, and orders his soldiers not to chase them, because the island that Gran and the others went to is extremely terrifying. And indeed, when Rakam gets a little closer to the island, a strange fog appears and suddenly pulls them in. After a while, they land on the island, but unfortunately the ship has been affected by the Empire's attack, and by the fog that suddenly appeared. So Rakam and Eugen decide along with Catalina that they will stay on the ship until they repair it, while Gran, Lyria, and I will go search for food and information from the people living there. But the problem is that Lyria is very afraid, and feels that there is something unnatural on the island, but she cannot determine exactly what it is. So Eugen tells them that the rumors say if your ship lands on this island, you will never be able to leave it again, besides the existence of ghosts everywhere. Because of that, Lyria is very scared while moving around, and Gran and Io are forced to try calming her down. After a while they arrive at a small village, but at the same time it is very frightening, and at that moment they see two residents standing there. So Lyria runs toward them so she can ask them about food and information, but as soon as she sees their appearance she becomes terrified and screams at the top of her lungs. After a while, they enter the house of those two people, and the two of them apologize for frightening them, and the surprise is that those two are zombies, and everyone living in this village is also a zombie. So Gran asks them about the reason they suddenly became zombies. The owner of the house tells them, 100 years ago, there was a plague spreading through the town, and unfortunately it caused many people to die. And suddenly the island became surrounded by fog, and the ghost ship suddenly appeared. From that moment all the people turned into zombies, and nobody can die on this island. By the way, visitors rarely come here, but recently 2 people arrived all at once, and now you as well. Come, let us introduce you to them. As soon as they go with them, they are surprised by the girl who has the same power as Lyria, the one who was with the Black Knight, and suddenly Sturm and Drang enter through the door, the 2 who were with the Black Knight, and fought Gran and his friends. So the 2 sides prepare to fight each other, but suddenly Lyria and the girl who resembles her feel hungry. The homeowners place food before them, but they are cautious about that food, especially because it was made by zombies. But as soon as they eat it they find that it tastes very good. However, they quickly remember their conflict with Sturm and Drang, and Io asks them what brought you here. So Drang tells her we are here for a simple vacation. Besides that, there are rumors saying there is a great treasure here. By the way, have you heard about the primal beast on this island? What do you think about joining forces to defeat it? As you know, there is something preventing us from leaving this island, and the reason is a primal beast, which is the ghost ship that appeared 100 years ago, and it is famous for eating people. We can cooperate so we can leave this island, so Gran agrees to make a temporary truce with them. After that, they all go on a journey so they can search for the ghost ship, and Lyria looks sadly at the girl who resembles her, because she wants to talk to her but does not know how to do it, so he asks her to introduce herself, and we learn that her name is Orcus. On the other side, Catalina asks Rakim what the situation is now, so he tells her honestly everything is malfunctioning. I have never faced this problem before, surely the reason is this island, so Eugen suggests that they go explore it, and at the same time search for Gran and Lyria. At the same time, while Gran and the others are walking, Lyria sees a girl standing alone, and asks them have we still not asked the girl beside us, so they look over there in confusion, because they cannot see any girl near them at all, so Lyria goes to her and tries to talk to her, but Gran and the others think she has gone crazy, because they see her talking to herself, but the surprise is that Orcus can see the girl as well. As soon as Lyria suddenly places her hand on the girl, she immediately appears to the others, and looks at Lyria in disbelief, because this is the first time anyone has seen her in 100 years, so she tells them my name is Fairy, but I do not know anything about myself, I have completely lost my memory, so Drang replies to her and says you can come with us, and we will search for a way to restore your memories. Fairy agrees and goes with them, and tells them her story while they are walking, that 100 years ago. Fairy suddenly woke up inside a dense fog, and had forgotten most of her memories, and afterward Fairy tried to search all around the island, so she could learn who she was, but she discovers that nobody is able to see her. Then Fairy takes them and they go to a strange place filled with books, and tells them I kept reading these books so I could learn who I am, and it seems that the person who wrote these books was someone who treated illnesses, and was researching the secret of immortality, and Fairy points them toward a picture of the ghost ship hanging on the wall. She tells them it seems that the person who came to this island was trying to summon the primal beast ghost ship, so he could seize its power, and the first step was performing the ritual, and in order to do that he first had to offer a sacrifice. So he returned to the village again, and chose a father and his daughter from among the villagers, and convinced them that they could stop the spread of the plague. And that was the end of the book. I do not know what happened afterward. Even though I searched throughout the entire village, I could not find the doctor, nor the father, nor the daughter, and it seems that the only one who knows the whole story is the ghost ship, but apparently it cannot see me either, so I could not do anything, and suddenly Lyria and Orcus sense the presence of a primal beast, and as soon as they go outside the place, they find the ghost ship flying above the island, and all at once it opens its mouth and comes to devour Fairy. Gran quickly runs toward her and saves her at the last moment, but unfortunately the ship goes toward Orcus, Lyria, and Io and swallows them. After that, Lyria wakes up from sleep while in a strange place, and sees Io in front of her looking worried about her, so she asks her where they are, and Io tells her we are probably inside the monster's stomach, so Lyria is shocked and screams loudly. On the other side, Fairy blames herself, because the ghost ship was going to take her, but when Gran saved her it swallowed Lyria and the others instead, but Gran tells her I am sure they are fine, she and I share the same life, and if something happens to her I will know. Then Sturm tells them unfortunately the ghost ship feeds on the villagers regularly. We are supposed to save them as quickly as possible, so Gran quickly asks Eugen to bring the ship right away, so they can search for them. At the same time, Lyria and Io are surprised that this is the monster's stomach, because the place is full of flowers, as if they are inside a giant garden, and while they are thinking about how they will get out of here, they notice a strange door located in the middle of the place, so they approach it while confused and afraid, but Io soon decides to open the door. As soon as she opens it, they find themselves in a place resembling a desert, but it is filled with rocks and mountains, and while they are walking, they find another door, and when they go to it and open it, they find volcanic lava behind it. Door after another, and many different places. The three of them feel that they are lost and wandering, because they do not know where they are going, or where they came from, and they do not even know when the end of these doors will arrive. But while they are walking, they come across two doors standing beside each other, so the three of them become confused, and decide that they will play a game so they can see which door they will enter. And the surprise is that Lyria and Orcus choose the same door, and as soon as O opens the door, they find themselves in the ocean with water surrounding them. After a while, the three of them are in a strange forest, and while they are walking, Lyria tries to start a conversation with Orcus, but she continues on her way and does not pay attention to her, so he goes to Lyria, and gives her fruit for both her and Orcus, and asks her to give it to her personally, so Lyria takes it and thanks her, and goes to Orcus and gives it to her. After a while, heavy rain starts falling on them, so Lyria takes tree leaves and makes an umbrella so she and Orcus can shelter under it, and Orcus becomes surprised and asks her, "Why are you doing this for me?" So she replies while smiling, "Because I want to be your friend." But suddenly, Io feels something strange and falls to the ground, so Lyria goes to her so she can check on her, but all at once Io asks her, "Who are you?" So Lyria looks at her in shock, and does not understand what happened to her, but after a short while O returns to her normal state again, and holds her head from the pain, so Orcus says surely the ghost ship is the reason behind all of this. On the other side, Fairy is searching for the ritual book, so they can summon the ghost ship, and after a lot of searching, she finally finds the book lying on the ground, so she quickly goes out to Gran and the others so she can inform them, and starts telling them how to perform the ritual, and asks Gran to help her carry it out. Meanwhile, Lyria and the others are walking through a strange place, and stop in front of a terrifying door, because Lyria and Orcus sense that a primal beast was behind it, so Io opens the door while nervous, and the surprise is that they find themselves in the place filled with books, and suddenly they hear the monster's voice speaking. All at once the appearance of the room changes completely, and a terrifying face appears before them, and the surprise is that this face is the owner who wrote the books, and sacrificed the father and his daughter, and tells them this is the heart of the primal beast ghost ship. Here the memories of the people it swallowed are stolen, but scenes from their lives are preserved here, and when Io hears those words, she remembers that all the places they passed through until now were from her memories, and that means that all this time, they were inside Io's memories. Suddenly something strange comes from behind Io and grabs her and tries to swallow her, but Lyria quickly rushes to her so she can save her, and tries to pull her out, but Lyria's arm is almost pulled off, so Orcus comes to help her and pull Io with her, but unfortunately the two of them fail to get her out, and Io's memories begin to be stolen from her. At the same time Fairy and Gran go to the ritual site, and Fairy tells them, "I tried many times before to summon the ghost ship, but every time I failed, but I think that after I became visible, and it came to attack me just now, I am sure I will be able to summon it this time," and immediately the two of them begin performing the ritual, and Fairy recites spells and incantations, and suddenly the magic circle beneath them starts glowing. On the other side, Lyria tries to pull O out of what she is trapped in, so the owner tells them, "Stop trying, I already stole her memories. This is the power of the primal beast," so Lyria becomes angry at him, and tells him, "You are wrong, you are only exploiting the ghost ship's power for your personal interests. The ship is the one that brought us here so we could help it." Suddenly the owner brings things up from beneath them and captures them, and tells them, "I knew that you were not ordinary humans. I will seize this power of yours and digest it for myself." So Lyria tries to call upon the water dragon beast, but unfortunately it does not respond, so the face tells her nobody can hear from this place, and suddenly Lyria screams and calls out to Gran with all her strength. Meanwhile, Gran grabs his chest and suffers intense pain, and all at once the magic circle begins glowing intensely and powerful lightning bursts from it, to the point that it reaches the sky, and suddenly a gate opens within the fog, and the ghost ship emerges from it and opens its mouth so it can swallow them. At that moment, part of Ao's consciousness returns to her, and she looks at Lyria and Orcus, and all at once she feels that she has been freed, and suddenly disappears from her place and descends back onto the island. At the same time, the ghost ship descends onto the island, and a strange smoke comes out of it that is able to pull people toward it, so the people quickly try to escape from that smoke, and climb aboard Gran's ship. After a while, O tells them after I was freed from the ghost ship, there is someone controlling this ship, and absorbing the lives of the villagers so he can feed on them, and unfortunately he is holding Orcus and Lyria captive, but he is still unable to completely control this ship, because it was the one that helped me escape. After that, the villagers begin gathering weapons and ropes, and mount them onto the ship, and prepare to fire at the ghost ship, and all of that is to delay the ship for a while, until Gran enters it and rescues Lyria and Orcus. On the other side, Fairy stands before the villagers, and tells them the only way to stop your lives from being stolen is to free the ghost ship, but if that happens unfortunately you will die. So they reply to her, we do not even want to live this way. Our memories, names and families were stolen from us, so we will help you. After that, Fairy goes to Gran, and tells him the plan for entering the ghost ship, and as soon as they get close to it, they fire arrows and throw ropes at it and hold it in place, so it cannot move and go destroy the entire village. And immediately Gran slides along the rope so he can reach the inside of the ship, but while he is descending, the ghost ship resists and changes direction, and that causes the rope Gran is holding to snap. But Drang quickly arrives from afar and catches him at the last moment, and helps him reach the ship, and immediately he enters it. After a while, Gran finds himself in his village standing in front of his house, and hears the voice of his younger self talking with his friend, about the letter his father sent him, so Gran approaches the house and opens the door, but he does not find anyone inside. Yet he still hears the voices of himself and Vern coming from the second floor. He quickly goes upstairs but still does not find anyone. However, he sees his father's letter placed on the table, and hears the voice for a third time coming from outside the door, but suddenly he hears his own voice speaking behind him, and when he turns his head, he finds himself holding a sword and preparing to fight him. Immediately they clash with each other outside the house in a very fierce battle, and in the end the fake Gran manages to break the armor on his chest, so Gran falls to the ground, and here the fake Gran takes advantage of the opportunity and raises his sword, and is about to bring it down on him. After a while, the battle between them moves into the sky, and at that moment Gran is lying on the clouds, and the fake Gran comes from afar and prepares to drive his sword into his chest, but Gran quickly rises and grabs his sword and drives it into him. But suddenly the fake Gran returns once again, but this time stronger than before. However, Gran's power also increases, and he continues fighting him with all his strength, and in the end he manages to defeat and kill him. Suddenly the face of the owner who controlled the ghost ship appears, and throws spears at him, and grabs his leg and pins him down, and creates a giant spear from his forehead and throws it at him. But suddenly Gran's chest shines and blocks the attack, so Gran draws his sword and strikes the spear, and charges at him while avoiding his attacks, and gathers the sword's power and drives it into him. Suddenly Lyria appears before Gran, and after a while Orcus appears as well, and they hold each other's hands and their crystals begin to shine, and the two of them chant strange incantations, and unleash tremendous power from their crystals, and they manage to shatter the world they are inside. The owner who controlled the ship appears before them, and tells them I do not want to die, and tries to lunge at Lyria so he can absorb her energy, but all at once the owner freezes in place, and is unable to steal it from her, and suddenly melts away and disappears forever. At the same time, the ghost ship begins collapsing, and control returns to it once again, and immediately the villagers' bodies start disappearing one after another while they are happy. Then Lyria comes while holding a glowing sphere in her hands, and gives it to Fairy, and as soon as she touches it, Fairy remembers all her memories, and learns who she is and who her family is. She runs toward a distant place while remembering her memories with her father, who sacrificed himself for her, and also her sister who had a rare illness, and left the island so she could receive treatment, while she remained waiting for her for 100 years believing that she would return. But what she discovers is that her sister died, and unfortunately all of Fairy's memories were painful, and she falls to the ground and continues crying intensely. After a while, Gran and his friends bid farewell to Drang and Sturm, and gather themselves and head toward the next island in line. And afterwards Sturm and Drang go to Fairy, who is sitting beside the grave of her father and sister, so they can comfort her. After that, Rackham is sleeping alone, but he dreams of an old dream from his past, where he is a child walking around searching for Yugen and crying, and while he is searching, he finds a boy sitting on a fence, so he wipes away his tears and approaches him, and keeps talking with him for a while about his simple dreams, to the point that he promises him he will make those dreams come true, and suddenly Rackham wakes up from sleep startled. While they are heading toward a new island, Gran feels that Rackham is not acting normal like usual, so he asks him about it, and Rackham tells him, "I just had a bad dream." But in truth the island they are heading toward was the stronghold of Rackham's childhood. After a while, they arrive at the island, which is famous for the flying ships that are repaired and built there, and as soon as they get off, they meet the foreman there, but when he sees Rackham he cannot believe his eyes, and warmly welcomes him and hugs him. So the crew asks him to repair their ship, and asks him about the number of repair days and the cost, so he tells them that it will take several days, and gives them a paper with the required amount written on it. But when they read it, they are shocked by how enormous the number is, so Yugen tries to negotiate with him, so he can lower the price a little, especially since Rackham will help them with the repairs, and indeed the foreman agrees and reduces the cost, but it is still a huge amount for them, and while they are confused and do not know where they will get the money from, Sierra, the owner of the tavern, suddenly appears and welcomes them, and tells them, "I have a special mission for you, from which you can earn all the money you want," and starts explaining the mission to them, so they all become happy together, because they will be able to earn money. Then Sierra tells them, "By the way, have you heard of the Keeper of Promises? Here on this island there is a primal beast that forces anyone who makes a promise to fulfill it. Even in the case of verbal promises, nobody can back out even a single time." At night, Eugen sits with Sierra in a cafe, and gives her the gemstone she requested, and manages to complete the mission she told him about and receive its reward money. On the other side, Gran and his friends are sitting in a restaurant so they can eat, but they are surprised by Eugen's absence all this time, because the mission Sierra requested from him should not take all that time, and suddenly the restaurant waiter comes and gives them their food, and also tells them that the meal is on his personal account, so they all become happy and thank him. On the next day, Rackham is standing with the foreman talking about their ship that he is repairing, and after he finishes, Rackham goes for a walk through the island's streets, and passes by the street where he met the boy from his dream, and as soon as he sees the fence, he remembers the old days, and also goes to buy the candy he used to eat when he was little, but at the same time he is very sad. On the other side, Gran and Lyria are in the marketplace, and Gran decides to buy a gift for Rackham so they can cheer him up, especially since he has been sad for a while. Meanwhile, a strange person comes and approaches Rackham's ship, and as soon as he looks at it he remembers the past, and the surprise is that this person is the boy from Rackham's dream, and we learn that his name is Noah. After a while, Rackham goes to the ship and meets Noah there, but he does not remember him at all, and is surprised by the way he talks, as if he knows him very well and knows the ship as well, and Noah gives him a paper model he made in the shape of his ship. And at the same time Gran and Lyria arrive and call out to Rackham, but as soon as Lyria sees Noah she feels a strange sensation toward him. But suddenly General Pommern appears with his soldiers, and raises the purple crystal in front of them. But the surprise is that this crystal was not made for Lyria, instead it was made specifically for Noah, and immediately Noah grabs his neck because of the collar he is wearing, and when Rackham goes to check on him, Noah asks him to leave immediately so that nothing happens to him. Suddenly a tremendous power emerges from Noah, and unfortunately he destroys Rackham's ship after breaking free from control, so Rackham looks at him and at the ship, and his memories begin returning to him once again. On the other side, the soldiers strike Gran until he loses consciousness, and capture both Lyria and Gran, and at the same time Pommern stops the energy of the purple crystal, so Noah returns to his normal state again, and is immediately taken away by the soldiers. And we return to the past again, where Rackham remembers his promise with Noah by the fence, and Rackham tells him that he came to this island so he could learn about airships, because he wants to become a pilot someday, and tells him not only that, I wanted to repair my ship and try to fly with it, but unfortunately everyone keeps telling me it is impossible to repair, so Noah looks at him while smiling and encourages him, and tells him I am sure you can do that, and makes a paper model of his ship for him, and blows on it so it flies through the air. When we return to the present, we find Rackham and the others sitting, and thinking about what they will do regarding the problem they are facing, but unfortunately they do not know whether Lyria and Gran are on this island or not, so Sierra enters and tells them it seems that Gran and Lyria have been transferred to the Imperial Garrison, which consists of military facilities that the Empire builds on random islands. Rackham asks her about Noah, so Sierra tells him he is most likely with them, but he will be inside the research laboratory at the garrison, because experiments are being conducted on him. So Rackham stays silent for a while and thinks about what he should do, but suddenly he notices the paper ship in front of him destroyed, and looks at it in shock. At that moment, Rosetta suddenly appears before them, and offers to help them rescue Gran and Lyria, so Catalina thanks her very much, because until now they are a weak team, and it would be impossible for them to rescue them alone. On the other side, General Pommern is walking with the soldiers while Gran and Lyria are tied up, and every time Gran asks him a question, Pommern does not answer him, until he becomes very annoyed. So he grabs him by the shirt and demands that he stay quiet. After a while General Pommern takes them before the ruler of the Empire herself, and the ruler asks him to leave them and go away, and tells them centuries ago an army suddenly appeared from nowhere, and with their tremendous power and unusual weapons, they managed to occupy the skies for a long time, and afterward the people of the skies tried to revolt against them, until they finally succeeded once, and managed to free themselves, and after all this time, now it is my turn to rule all the skies. I am the one who will rewrite history again. At the same time the crew members hide inside a cargo transport wagon, and manage to enter the military garrison successfully, without having to fight the soldiers. After a while, they go to a secret hideout, so they can put together a suitable plan through which they can rescue Gran and Lyria, so Rackham asks them to let him go alone, because he wants to rescue Noah. Even though Gran and Lyria are important to him, he cannot leave Noah to fend for himself, besides that he needs Noah's help so the ship can return to its original condition, so the crew members agree, and Rosetta also offers herself to help him. On the other side, Gran and Lyria are standing before the ruler of the Empire, and she tells them I have been following you through all the journeys you traveled, and I found that Lyria achieved truly great results. Every island had the power of its primal beast taken from it, and now I will use that power so I can control all the skies. Lyria tells her I do not have all that power you mentioned, and even if I did, I love this world and would never destroy it, and I will not let you control it. So the ruler replies to her I have several ways to force you to cooperate with me, such as your friend here for example. The two of you will be transferred to the capital. Meanwhile, Rackham and Rosetta storm the research building, and manage to defeat all the soldiers inside with ease, and immediately Rackham tries to enter Noah's cell, but finds that there is a barrier around his prison. So Rosetta notices the purple crystal, and as soon as she destroys it the barrier disappears, so Rackham runs to Noah, but finds him much weaker than the last time, and tells him I finally remembered the promise I made to you. I am sorry that I forgot you all this time. After a while Rackham tries to remove the collar around Noah's neck, and while he is working on it, Noah tells him because of the experiments the Empire performed on me, all your memories of me were erased, because they kept draining my power, and because of that people started forgetting me, and unfortunately I was forced to agree to what they were doing, because they threatened my life. But you were the person who kept me from giving up quickly, because of the promise you made to me. So Rackham replies, and me as well, even though I forgot you and forgot the promise between us. I still kept the feelings from that day. You were the only one who believed in my dream, at the same time when people mocked me, and suddenly Rosetta calls out to them quickly, and tells them that someone is coming for them. And at the very last moment, Rackham manages to break the collar around his neck, takes him and runs away quickly. On the other side, Pommern is walking with Gran and Lyria, and brings them to the warships, because they are going to be transported to the Empire. But suddenly Vern appears and lunges at Pommern, and immediately Gran takes advantage of what happened and crashes into the soldiers, so the soldiers rush toward them so they can stop them, but Io steps in and manages to defeat the soldiers with her magic, and then Catalina charges at the soldiers and kills them, and quickly frees Gran and Lyria, and they immediately run away. After that, General Pommern goes to the ruler of the Empire, and apologizes to her that Gran and Lyria were rescued, and that he was unable to stop them. And not only them, but Noah also disappeared from the research facility. But the ruler does not seem interested in what he is saying, and goes to board a warship, and orders the soldiers to begin the fourth phase of the operation. At the same time, Catalina is standing and watching the skies, because they are surprised that everything is very quiet after they rescued Gran and Lyria from them, and there is also no sign of any ship belonging to the Empire. After a while, Noah tries to repair Rackham's ship, but because of his weakened power he is unable to do it, so Noah apologizes to Rackham, and asks him to let him take his time, but Rosetta orders him to stop what he is doing immediately, because if he uses any more of his energy he will disappear completely, so Lyria offers to help by supplying him with energy. Noah gets up from the ground, and tells them there is another easier solution. If we can bring the primal beast that enforces promises to the island, then we might be able to repair the ship and fly with it. And we learn that this beast can fulfill any promise whatsoever on this island, which is why all the people here always keep their word, whether it is a big promise or even a small one, and in order to guarantee that nobody betrays the agreement, this beast offers its power to protect the promise. Because of that, Noah asks them to make a promise with him, that they will continue their journey through the skies once this ship is repaired. But suddenly Noah feels something strange, and all at once a purple beam appears reaching all the way into the sky, and when it disappears we see that Noah has transformed into a primal beast after the Empire took control of him. Before he loses consciousness, he asks them to escape immediately, and suddenly Noah releases a gigantic power, so immense that it begins pulling all the airships toward him, and they gather around him to form a giant monster, and during that, the ruler says now this primal beast will exhaust all of its power, and nobody can stop it until it completely disappears, and so that we can keep it in this state of madness, we will supply it with even greater energy. And immediately she orders her soldiers to activate the reactor beneath the ship. All at once the beast begins glowing intensely, and starts casting strange purple lights upon the island, which are able to drain the energy of the people living there, because Noah possesses almost no power at all, so they compensate for his energy using the people. Suddenly it strikes the island with a massive burst of energy, and manages to destroy a large part of it all at once, so Gran shouts loudly to the primal beast responsible for enforcing promises, and asks it to help them, and in return promises that he will save Noah no matter what happens, and that they will board the ship and fly it through the skies once it returns to its original condition. Immediately each one of them starts making a different promise, but unfortunately the primal beast does not respond. So Rosetta says there is no use in what you are doing, the promise must be made between everyone and Noah, and then the beast will acknowledge that promise and grant you enough power. Lyria uses her power and says since the purple crystal's energy is spread throughout the entire island, and since it is trying to absorb everything, the crystal is weak and unstable right now. And if we can make a promise with Noah and the primal beast grants him power, he will be able to resist the crystal very easily. And because of that Rackham boards a small ship together with Gran and Lyria, and they decide to approach the beast so they can make Noah hear their voices. On the other side, the soldiers inform the ruler that Noah's energy has decreased, so she orders them to increase the rate of energy absorption to the maximum, but unfortunately in that case all the villagers will die, and indeed they begin falling to the ground one after another. At the same time Rackham, Gran and Lyria try to reach Noah, but suddenly the beast deploys its cannons and fires energy blasts at them. However, Rackham miraculously manages to avoid all the attacks. Meanwhile, Eugen raises his rifle and fires a shot at the beast, and Rosetta immediately catches it with her vines, and manages to create an opening in the beast's body, and as soon as Rackham notices it he rushes toward it so they can enter through it. Unfortunately the beast resists fiercely, and tries to close that opening by any means possible, and also releases flying machines to hinder the crew members, but they try to hold them back with all their strength, and in the end Rackham manages to break into the beast's body with his aircraft. As soon as they enter, they see Noah sitting very far away from them, but suddenly they find themselves surrounded by monsters from every direction, so Gran asks Rackham to go to Noah while they hold those monsters back, and indeed Rackham runs toward him with all his strength, but all at once a giant monster appears before him. Gran quickly runs at it and drives his sword into it, So Rackham takes advantage of the monster being distracted, and goes to Noah so he can make the promise with him. But as soon as he climbs the wreckage of the ships to reach him, strange ropes appear and strike Rackham fiercely. So Rackham looks at them and realizes that those ropes are his ship, but it is trying to protect Noah. However, it quickly recognizes Rackham and calms down again, so Rackham goes to Noah, and extends his hand to him while holding the paper ship, and makes the promise with him, then places the ship into his hand, and suddenly the ship begins moving and starts flying through the air, and at the same time the crystal on Lyria's chest starts glowing. Suddenly the primal beast that protects promises appears and repairs Rackham's ship, and it begins flying once again and emerges from the monster's body. So Noah thanks him for what he did for him, and tells him I heard all of your voices, and begins glowing intensely, and says since I am a primal beast who governs shipbuilding, I command all ships to return to their original forms and dock at the harbor. Suddenly the airships return to their original forms and go back to their places, and during that, Gran and Lyria land somewhere on the island, and prepare to return to their team again, but suddenly they see the Black Knight and Orcus standing before them, so the Black Knight tells them I am taking Lyria with me. On the other side, Catalina and the others arrive and welcome the return of Noah and Rackham, so Catalina asks them about Gran and Lyria, and Rackham replies that they probably landed somewhere on the island. But suddenly Rosetta senses that someone is using a tremendous power on this island, and that Gran and Lyria are in great danger. At the same time, Orcus summons a giant beast and attacks them. So the two of them try to escape from it, but they find a lightning strike descending upon them with full force, and unfortunately it destroys the path in front of them. So Gran is forced to draw his sword and fight the Black Knight alone. But it is clear that the knight is much stronger, to the point that a single strike sends Gran crashing into a wall. So Lyria tries to help him and summon the water dragon, but suddenly Orcus summons the same one, only even stronger, and it easily manages to destroy Lyria's beast, and immediately she orders her dragon to unleash water upon them. In the end they find themselves underground because of the intensity of the attacks, so Gran thinks for a while and considers what he should do, especially since none of his friends are beside him, and they cannot summon a beast to help them, because Orcus will find their location. So Lyria tells him I knew all of this was going to happen. The Black Knight is the Empire's advisor, and Orcus follows her, so of course they were going to attack us, but I felt that we were alike, not only because we possess the same power, but because we also see the same things and feel the same way. I really wanted to be her friend. Unfortunately I am the reason for all of this. Gran tells her I will not hand you over to them, and I will not let anyone take your freedom, even if it is the Black Knight herself. So Lyria cries intensely, because she will be forced to fight Orcus, and surely they can never be friends after that, and suddenly Orcus enters upon them. And we return to the past, where Orcus opens her eyes and finds the Black Knight standing before her, and the surprise is that the Black Knight is a girl. And we learn that Orcus has a long story behind her, and that she was the ruler of the Empire, but an accident happened to her, and she lost her memories and power, which is why the Black Knight was overjoyed when she woke from her unconsciousness, but Orcus does not know who she is. After that, the Black Knight takes her to the marketplace, and starts reminding her about the city and its people, until one day the Black Knight gives her a ring, and tells her remember this ring when we sneaked out of the castle, and wandered through the shops together so we could buy it, but Orcus still has amnesia and remembers nothing. After a period of time, Orcus remains in the same condition, but the Black Knight does not give up, and wants to take Lyria so she can restore her friend's memories, but at that time Orcus tells her I will not leave you alone, even if I cannot become the person you want me to be, and I will try to fulfill your wish. And we return to the present again, where Orcus thanks Lyria for the time she spent with her on the island, but apologizes to her and says goodbye, and blows up the place, but fortunately none of them die. Gran gets up from the ground and asks the two of them, why are you doing this to us? Why do you want to take Lyria and destroy the world, and take control of it? So she replies, did you hear that from the ruler of the Empire? Right, as for me, I have goals of my own beyond power and authority. So Gran draws his sword and prepares to attack her, and runs toward her and clashes with her. But suddenly the Black Knight catches his sword and breaks it, and strikes him with her other hand and throws him away, so Lyria rushes to him while crying because she is worried about him. Then the Black Knight approaches him, and suddenly Lyria's crystal begins glowing. So the Black Knight quickly raises her sword, and is about to bring it down on him. But at the last moment Gran rises and grabs her second sword, and strikes her with it, and manages to knock the helmet from her head. Suddenly Yugen appears and fires a shot at her from his rifle, but she manages to dodge it and releases her energy and destroys the building he is standing on, and after that she leaves and walks away, leaving Lyria and Gran behind. After that, Gran and Lyria get up and leave, and are on their way to their friends. Then Vern runs to him and hugs him, and afterward they board the ship with the others, and Io scolds them for fighting the Black Knight alone, so Gran apologizes to her. On the other side, the soldiers inform the ruler that the purple crystal has been shut down, and everything has returned to normal as before, and that a message has also been received from the Fourth Fleet of the Enforcers, saying that their mission has been completed. So the ruler smiles and says, "I believe all of our objectives have been achieved now." At the same time, Gran goes to Yugen and tells him it was obvious that you knew the Black Knight. What is the story between you two? But Yugen refuses to talk, and tries to avoid the subject and quickly walks away. So Gran stands there thinking to himself for a while, but suddenly Lyria and Vern come to him, and ask him to return to the ship quickly because some people want to see him. As soon as he returns, he finds the commander of the Fourth Fleet of the Enforcers standing before him, and she tells him that the Empire's advisor, the Black Knight, has been arrested on charges of treason against the Empire, and that you are required to attend as witnesses on the neighboring island, so you can witness the trial ceremony. So Gran agrees, and heads with his team toward that island.